Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on January the 10th, 2017. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me as always, giving him a huge shout out this week.
Oh, Caffeine Rage. Oh.
Inside jokes.
Why has that become a thing on YouTube?
I don't know. On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we played. Steam Beta adds Xbox controller support. Nvidia announces the GeForce Now streaming service. We'll be discussing the Steam Awards. Tracer's got the gay. We'll be having our weekly community corner and our Steam weekly deals discussion. And as always, timestamps will be in the show notes following their respective topics. Hello, Rage. How are you?
I'm here. Does that count?
No.
Been a busy day. Had Mario and Luigi over and they did some plumbing. And no, that's not an innuendo.
I made it out to be that way on the text. I knew what you meant, but I was like, they're plumbers. I got to make a sex plumbing joke.
Yeah, sorry. The only pipe they were laying was in the wall.
I'm here to lay some pipe. Bow chicka wow wow. But
one of them looks suspiciously like Biff. So, Kyle, I think I found Biff.
He's scouting out your house. He's gonna come get you. I'm next. Oh God. Oh, I have had a relatively normal day, getting back into the swing of things after Christmas break, essentially. Since the clinic operates on the school schedule, I got like 2 weeks off when the school was closed over Christmas and New Year, so that was nice. But, you know, as you all know, we were sick and everything, so it's been rough getting adjusted because I'm feeling better, and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready for my vacation, but it's time to go back to work.
Yeah,
sometimes being
it
an
wasn't
adult
much of a
sucks.
vacation if you were sick the entire time, was it?
Yeah, sometimes being an adult sucks, but it's okay. I usually manage to make enough time for myself, so. And I'm about to be making even more time for myself when we get to games, but that would be a good segue, but I do have to report on the i7-4790K after editing last week's podcast.
Want to make sure that people are swapping over to the proper RSS stream.
That's true.
Did you put anything in the old feed about that yet?
No, not yet. I'll have it done before the episode goes up.
All right, or
I just didn't get a chance.
Myself, if need be. It's just, yeah. I wanted to make sure that was done.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure and get it done before the episode goes live. So if you're on the old RSS feed, well, I guess if you're on the old RSS feed, you're not listening to this, but it'll be there.
But here's the thing: is that if you have swapped over and know someone else that listens, be sure to tell them. See, now it's relevant.
There you go. And I also have put in a request with Apple iTunes to have RSS feeds changed. There's no guarantee they will approve it, so as soon as I know whether or not we're swapping over or having to relist, I will let everyone know on Twitter.
All right, and
then we'll
I'm
talk about it on the
assuming
show.
Google Play is the same thing, or do you have to completely relist there?
No, I'll have to completely relist it on Google Play for sure, because you can't get into it and edit the options. Like on iTunes, you have some very, very limited control. On Google Play, once you give it to them, all you can do is see its stats, and you can never change it again. So I'll have to upload it as a new podcast.
Yeah, just a complete pain in the ass then. No wonder nobody really talks about Google Play, but it's at least there is an option. Yeah.
I mean, it's there, but they're a little bit behind the curve. As much as I dislike Apple products, the podcast is definitely something that they're ahead of the curve on since, it's named after them.
Yeah, true. But then again, that's more the fact that they were really the first commercially successful MP3 player, or the one that really got the attention of a lot of people. I'm not sure if I could say that they were the first really commercially successful straight MP3 player, but I will say that they were the first ones that really got a lot of attention.
Yeah. I said last week I was going to report on how the i7 did editing the podcast. It is crazy how much faster it is. It's more than twice as fast, which leads me to believe that not only is it Audacity utilizing more cores better, but the stronger single core performance is like, that was my bottleneck. My single core performance was okay in my i5. It certainly was nothing to write home about. But having 1.6 gigahertz more per processing core has got to have been a huge thing. Like, it would take me normally 20 minutes to render out the audio. It took 3 with the i7. So something there, and I copied everything to my my hard disk, so I know that it wasn't the SSD, because I didn't want to be reading and writing and all that to it. I mean, it would have been fine because it's brand new, but I don't want to start wearing it out faster than it needs to.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that, and nothing else in my system changed. So it has to be more cores and more power from the processor. I mean, Audacity, either just the new processor's got so much more horsepower, it's not even a fair comparison, or Audacity is really good at using more than 4 cores. Because, I mean, it was insane.
Yeah, I've never really paid
amazed
attention to just how much CPU usage it's doing whenever I'm doing a render.
Yeah, I alt-tabbed, watched a YouTube video, came back, and it was done. And I was like, okay, well, that was less than 5 minutes.
That sounds like, me setting the computer to reset, and going to the bathroom and coming back, and I'm back at the desktop. It's like, it reset, or is it just sitting there waiting?
Yeah. Sometimes it will reset. It'll, like, I don't know, something will happen during the render and it'll stop, and you're like, did it do it? But nope, it's just fast. So yeah, i7 4790K, good purchase option. A lot of times I'll edit podcasts on my laptop, but now I'm like, I don't even want to, because I'll be at the clinic and have free time. But now I'm just like, well, I guess tomorrow night after I'm done, or after we're done streaming, I can go edit the podcast.
Yeah,
I mean,
are we streaming this week?
Yep, we will be for sure, unless something else happens to someone that's not me that I have to go take care of.
What can I say? I've missed the streams.
I missed everybody too. I was looking forward to getting back to it last week, but yeah, you rode my throat way too hard, dude. You gotta be gentle, or use some lube or something.
I'll give you some nice warm tea afterwards.
I sounded like a frog Wednesday night, and then I had an emergency Friday night.
Did Katie make any comments about me riding your voice too much?
No, she didn't notice.
Oh, well.
I mean, she doesn't get on Twitter very often, and if you didn't tell her directly, I didn't tell her because I didn't think about it.
No, I wish I had.
But so yeah, and then I had that emergency Friday, which I don't know how many of you saw that tweet in the community, but I'm fine. My kid is fine. My wife is fine. Just, I mean, I told Rage what happened, and a couple other people know, but
yeah, but I'm not telling.
Really talking about it very much, just because it's a sensitive topic for Katie. But we're fine, so nothing to worry about for us. But thank you to everyone who was concerned. I did receive several DMs and texts from people who have my phone number. So thanks everybody for your concern. We have a great community. I love you guys. I'm giving you all a big hug right now.
Why do I feel a little creepy about this?
Oh, and this week's podcast is brought to you by Google Play's I'm Feeling Lucky playlist. Let's see what we've got. Ooh, Kesha. TikTok for the first one. Yeah, I can handle this. Although some of these songs I don't recognize on the playlist, so some of them I do, though. And the ones I do recognize are nice. It's mostly like pop and like Taylor Swift and stuff, so apparently I've been listening to too much Taylor Swift on my Google Play.
Well, now you need to watch out, because if that was Biff that showed up to do some plumbing here, he's definitely going to be pissed when he shows up at your house.
No, this is good. It'll be like Biff repellent. I'll just turn it up.
Or I'll just send him into a murderous rage. One of the two.
It could, but I've got a gun. I've got several guns, so I should be okay. Unless he also has a gun and he shoots first. Which one of us is Han?
Well, he was more Jabba, but...
Right. Well, speaking of Star Wars, there's Star Wars video games, so let's move on to talking about video games. That was contrived.
Yeah, not your smoothest transition ever.
No, but I don't think it's my worst either.
Sadly, no.
Oh, so tell me about your games you played this week, Rach.
Well, my first one isn't technically a game. It's a way to play games. Remotr. It's a Google. Well, for me, it's an Android app, but I'm pretty sure it has an Apple app as well. It's a remote play for smartphones, allowing you to play computer games on your smartphone. And
I can't imagine there would be very many games that this would work well with, even if the app is awesome. And based on what you said before the podcast...
Here's the thing, is that it supports Bluetooth controllers, so in theory, I could pair my DualShock 4 controller with my phone and have games like that, which will work a lot better. But I'm pretty sure this is running through a third-party server somewhere, because I tried it on the local network, and I would estimate about a 500 ping between what I was seeing on my primary monitor and what I was seeing updated on my phone.
I mean, even running it wirelessly, which you would have to do, it still shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, that's why I was tearing apart my network settings, trying to figure out if it was me or if it was running through a third-party server. And I didn't see anything in the NetStat that suggested it. But then again, there's so many connections on a modern computer these days that it's really hard to narrow it down.
Yeah.
So, but just from the pure lag between the two connections, and I should say that my setup on testing this, I had Mad Max running, which is a fairly demanding game, but it was doing this on every game. But Mad Max allowed me to see the change a lot easier. I was using my DualShock 4 controller connected to my computer, and I would nudge the stick, and then I'd watch with my phone setting right below the monitor the difference in the delay for the phone to update. And there was times that I would do a quick nudge on the stick, release it, and it would be about half a second before the phone updated, which rules out anything with action.
Yeah,
that and it has some really nasty compression on it. I realize that this is more of an action game, so it's a little less fair. But there was some heavy blockiness, the heavy compression on the normal setting. On Ultra, it was starting to max out my network, so. Yeah, I'm not sure what the bit rate is on Ultra, but on normal, it's a little lacking. For turn-based stuff, though, where there's not a lot of updates, where the bit rate isn't that important, then it'd be fine. I was actually playing FTL with it, which actually works fairly well with it. What you're able to do is, if you're not using a controller, you could set up custom touchscreen controls. So you can set it up where there's a button that you hit that for FTL. It'll hit space to pause the game, and then several controls for basic functions.
Right.
And it actually worked fairly well for that. I mean, granted, the delay did make things a little tougher, but FTL is not exactly a fast-paced game. And I also tried it out when I was at the doctor's office, and granted, I realize this is the hospital network, and the hospital network isn't set up for this, but it was unplayable, even FTL. It just wouldn't connect properly.
Right.
And I've had some issues with the app. I've had times where it wouldn't start synchronizing the video. I had control over the remote computer. I could move the camera, and I heard music, but the video wouldn't start. And the only way to get it to show up was to actually reset my phone so it completely shut down things. Even killing the app in the Android control panel didn't do it. I had to do a complete reset on my phone.
Well, that sounds familiar to something I'm going to talk about.
It's one of those things that it's a good concept. Oh, and also it's a paid app. They have a free version that has ads, which isn't that bad. There's an ad that starts whenever you start up a game, but honestly, most games have a startup time long enough that the ad doesn't really impact you. As a matter of fact, it just blocks all the damn splash screens are in modern games these days.
Right.
And there's a small banner ad at the on the connection screen. And that's it. And it's a paid service, so I think it's $2 a month, which really makes me think that they're running this through a third-party server and not it's a direct connection like what TeamViewer would be.
Yeah.
The paid subscription plus the fact that I was getting such a lag really supports that, in my opinion. Even though I don't have 100% confirmation on that, and there's not a lot out about this app, and this is really my only option because of AMD. Nvidia has really locked down a lot of the streaming stuff so far. Because there's Moonlight that uses the Nvidia codecs. There's Nvidia's service that we're going to be talking about a little bit later.
Yep.
Also allows for streaming on the go. Like I said, it's a good idea, and if it was a direct connection or if it wasn't as laggy. I can't tell which it is. It could just be my phone. That's very possible. But my phone isn't a slouch. It's an HTC One M8.
Yeah.
I mean, not top of the line, but I would say it's a good mid-tier phone, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, when it came out, it was their flagship phone a couple of years ago. So, and today's standards, it'll be somewhere between upper average to average and on terms of power. And I mean, this thing would have to run on, average spec phones.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody has got really nice, expensive smartphones. I mean, most people have a smartphone, but there's now a lot of really budget smartphones out there. So
yeah, and this was got this secondhand, so it's not exactly an expensive thing for me.
Yeah. I mean, heck, even my phone is finally starting to show its age. It's 2.5 years old now or so. And I mean, it's just, it's not quite as sprightly as it once was because modern apps and things demand more processing power. And
yeah, so either it requires just an absurd app or absurd phone, and it's a inefficient app, which is possible, but I didn't see anything that would suggest that. And the Google Play Store said that it runs on my phone, so that would suggest that it runs on my phone.
Yeah,
because they kind of limit you if they think it's not going to run on your phone, even though it possibly could anyway.
Yeah, Android will let you do that. In the Apple Store, it's like, oh, you probably can't run this app. Sorry, you can't download it.
Well, Google does.
You can buy it,
but you could get around it by just finding the file anyway.
Yeah. The iTunes will still let you buy something even if your device can't run it, but it won't let you install it.
Apple. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Remotr. It's like I said, nice idea, execution, but I can't tell if it's network, my local network, the ISP in the area, which is very likely to be shit anyway, or just the way they're running things. But I'm pretty sure it's the way they're running things.
Yeah.
But I do like the flexibility of it. If you're doing a more term-based thing, then it would work fine. A matter of fact, a tablet with this for Civ would be amazing, if you don't mind the delay.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, that's like the flagship thing I would think of. Even though all of the games that they show are these big action games, showing. I think they're thing where they show off how to set up the controls is Team Fortress 2, and I would not play Team Fortress 2 with this. I wouldn't play Pyro in Team Fortress 2 with this.
Yeah. I'll give it a shot this week. Maybe try it out on both my iPad and my phone.
Yeah, I want you to do the setup I was doing. Local network. You don't have to use the exact controller, but set it up where your phone, you can see your phone and your monitor at the same time, and hit a control on your computer, and using the phone as a secondary monitor, and see if you see the same lag.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that this
Granted,
week.
our setups will be different, and it's very possible that you're going to be closer to a server than I am. But the way the lag was, it did feel like I was playing probably a server in the Midwest. If it is just going through a third party server.
Yeah. No, I'll give it a shot this week and see. I'll just leave that tab open. All right, what else you got?
Okay, well, I'm going to gush about Rimworld for a little bit then.
Of course you are.
Hey, you could talk about Train Fever for weeks and weeks and weeks in a row. I could talk about Rimworld once in a while.
You can.
So, I finally got some time with the Alpha 16 build. I did some recording, but I wasn't happy with how it was turning out. I want to try to redo that probably tomorrow night before the series goes live. It was more a couple mods weren't clicking right for me, and it was kind of screwing up things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a death knell for the colony yet, so it didn't feel right to put it out. And, it requires a little bit of refinement. But I last played Rimworld on Alpha 14, so there's been 2 major updates since I've played. Gotten back up to date, I should say, because I've been playing Alpha 14 for a while now. The drug system in it is actually really interesting. The fact that you could really supplement mood losses just by giving all your colonists space weed.
Aw, yeah, space weed.
As a matter of fact, I was laughing my ass off because I found out that you could basically give joints to your prisoners to get their mood up to make them easier to recruit. Which is just hilarious. Because the way it works is that you capture a person that's assaulting your base or whatever, and you're basically trying to convince them, you really should join us instead. And some people are easier to change over than harder than others. Tribals are pretty much too primitive to really be able to do it, unless you get really lucky. And then you could also, whenever there's a escape pod, there's occasionally a survivor that you're able to capture and talk them into recruiting. Even though they have changed it where if you just rescue them, they could join you out of gratitude. And there's a stronger chance if the area is hostile. If there's an event going on that's there's an event called Toxic Fallout. So anyone that's not indoors is slowly getting poisoned.
Right.
And if you pass a certain threshold, you die. Yeah, just slightly. And also, if you're poisoned to a certain degree, you have a chance to get dementia. Mel's does that all too well. Because one of her well, for those who don't know, I name all my characters in my Rimworld series after listeners, Twitch streamers I watch, and just acquaintances. And Mel's was a character in that, and she was going to do something in the Toxic Fallout. I'm pretty sure that she was grabbing some of the livestock that died in the fallout before the corpses rotted, because that's going to be healthy to eat.
Absolutely.
Well,
Only the best.
Well, the thing is, the Toxic Fallout kills everything, and it makes it so that you have to try to survive the best you can. Well, and she built up to a certain percentage of the Toxic Fallout, and she gained dementia from it.
Nice.
Which would make it every so often she would forget what she was doing and just kind of wander around for a little bit. Granted, she didn't
That's probably pretty realistic, though, based on what I know about males. I mean, I love you, girl, but...
Wow.
I'm in trouble.
Yes, you are. Remember...
It's all right.
I didn't say that. Granted, I may have given you dementia, but it was a complete accident, and I didn't even know that it could happen. So I got that going for me.
Which is nice.
Yeah. But the drug system really changes things. That's the Alpha 15. Alpha 16 was a complete game changer with caravans. Now, you could get caravans to show up your colony occasionally anyway. But Alpha 16 made it where that you could send out caravans and raid other colonies nearby. And it's made it so that you don't have to sit and wait to hope that a trader shows up. You could send off people on your own. And there are some ingenious mods out already for it. There's a camping mod that allows you to build tents and sleeping bags and a portable stove. And basically have the caravan stop every so often. Well, the caravan stops automatically at night anyway to rest. But there's a setup camp mod now that allows your caravan to essentially stop in this little pocket zone. And to recuperate, replenish food by killing the local wildlife and getting some extra meals. And it's a real game changer. It's just, it's one of those things that it sounds very simple, but it is very complex to set up. And this is actually a thing that's been on the development map for Dwarf Fortress for ages. And this is, I think this is the first game that I've really seen it done really well. I've seen other settlement games like this set up caravans somewhat, but not to this degree. It's really impressive. If you haven't played Rimworld in a while, I would strongly suggest checking out the new update because Alpha 16 is just amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Alpha 17 and beyond because, Rimworld is a game that's getting better and better as it goes on.
Yeah. I do intend to buy and play Rimworld eventually. But for me, Rimworld is a game that I'm like, well, I get to listen to you talk about it all the time, and that's good enough until it gets closer to release.
Well, Rimworld is essentially a light version of one of my favorite games, and it's a lot more accessible, but still has the depth in it, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
But really the big thing is that the UI isn't hot garbage, because that's really the downfall of Dwarf Fortress is it's a very deep game. It's a very enjoyable game. If you don't mind the ASCII or the tile-based graphics, then that doesn't really matter all that much. But the thing is that the UI, you could tell that it's been in development for a decade, and it's been layer upon layer of different systems added because in one menu you'll be using WASD to highlight and move the cursor around. In another, you'd be using the arrow keys. In another, you would be using H, J, K, U, and M. So, yeah, it's one of those things that you could definitely tell that that there's been some different iterations of different systems over the years, and they need to sit down and really work out the UI, but that's probably going to be one of the last things they do because it's just building new systems all the time.
Right.
But the mod support for Rimworld is really what's selling it for me. I would say it's about KSP levels of mod support right now. There's a mod that does a complete rework of Rimworld that makes it on Mars.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is that it also adds the life support, which it makes it so that your solar panels have to be cleaned every so often, like in The Martian. And it's just one of those things. I want to go play it, but at the same time, some of the mods that I love to use just aren't supported with it.
Yeah. But
the Mars one, I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% certain, though, it makes it more of a survival game than what the base game is, which is more of a base management and combat game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, love me some Rimworld.
Okay, so I assume that your next game is the one that you said that you were going to hate on.
Actually, what I was hating on was Remotr.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you were going to love on one game and hate on one game.
No.
Okay.
No, I meant entries.
Oh, okay. So what's your next game, Rach?
Valiant Hearts, The Great War. Or the French title, which is completely unpronounceable by me, and I'm not even going to attempt it.
Hang on, where's the French title? Is it on the Steam store page?
I'm pretty sure it is. I know on the... on my library, it has the Steam French title as well.
Yeah, I took 2 years of French in college, and I don't know how to say this. But that's mostly because I hated it, so.
Well, I could tell that it says memories. But yeah, Valiant Hearts is an adventure game set in World War One, and I should say close to actual World War One, not the fantasy World War One that Battlefield 1 has, where everybody's running around with automatic weapons and are complete badasses, and there's no trench warfare or anything.
Right.
And I could tell this is going to be a very heartfelt game, and it's something I wanted to do after having the total badassery that is Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Yeah, the other side of the coin, really. That, and also the other game that I played just wasn't clicking with me, and thought, this sounds fun. And we were talking about how Ubisoft is really the only AAA studio that will put out these indie titles.
Yeah.
So it seemed like a good time to do it. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I've only gotten, I would say, a little over an hour into it so far.
Yeah.
And the story bounces between 4 main characters. Let's see, there's Frankie. There's a dog that shows up.
I love the dog.
Anna, which literally showed up at the very end of my play. And Emil. And it's essentially a broken love story. Emil's son-in-law, I'm pretty sure he's his son-in-law, even though he looks more like the boy than he does his daughter, is trying to essentially bring his son-in-law back to his daughter and his grandson. And I could tell already that this is going to be a very sad story.
Yeah, I cried a lot. This game was one of the free games on the Xbox last year sometime, and I played it and I cried a lot. Yeah. I won't spoil anything for you, but it is a very heartfelt, touching, wonderful story. There are a few of the sort of, I don't know what you want to call them, mini games or puzzles or whatever that you have to do. Mm-hmm. A couple of them are really frustrating, but for the most part, it doesn't.
Well, I'll tell you how far I've gotten. One of the last sequences I did was the escape sequence with the French can.
Yeah.
With the Zeppelin in the background.
Yeah.
It took me a moment to realize that everything was really synced to the music, because I was doing this on YouTube, so I'm chattering away the entire time. So it's like, wait a minute, is this synced to the music?
Yeah, the worst. Well, no, I won't say anything to spoil it, because even just talking about it might spoil it a little bit. But yeah, no, that's not so bad. They're more towards, I guess, there's one in the middle of the game, pretty much right smack dab in the middle, that drove me crazy, and then there's one towards the end that was frustrating as well. Although that could be on my own personal hang-up, but regardless, the game is wonderful, and it will probably.
Now I'm not going to ask: is it just figuring out, or is it the execution?
It's the execution.
Oh boy. Because I did have a sequence where, in the trenches, realizing that I had to send the dog through the tunnel, because it was really the first time that he sent the dog into the background to get something.
Yeah. No, for one of them, it's definitely the execution, and the other one I feel like is a little bit of both. It's a little convoluted, and then when you figure it out, it's still stupid to try and do.
I will say that I do kind of like the hint system. I saw it more in action when I was in my playtesting, just, getting the feel for the game.
Yeah.
And the fact that, if you sit there for a minute, you'll get a hint, and then you'll sit there for another minute. And usually by the second hint, you've figured it out anyway.
Right. Yeah, it's a good game.
I absolutely love the art style. Granted, there are a couple sequences in the opening that, it seems like they compressed things a little too much, or they didn't have enough resolution, so things looked a little too fuzzy.
Yeah.
But I like the sort of comic book style of how the game looks.
Yeah, it's pretty short too. It's about 5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, 5 or 6 hours, and I'm about an hour into it.
Yeah. Man, I might play that this week. Go back and replay it.
What is it with me getting you to play games?
I don't know. I do this every once in a while. I just kind of take a break from a lot of games and obsess about something else. And for the last week or two, that's been finishing Star Wars Clone Wars, the animated series. And I finally polished off, last night I tweeted about it, I polished off the series. I watched all of Season 6 last night because it's only 13 episodes.
Yeah, you were talking about winning a Star Wars RPG, and there's not a lot of options out there.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't think of any, and I was like, well, I'll ask the group. And
yeah,
KOTOR, but I played KOTOR
and the only thing I was able to think of was the Old Republic, which it's, from what I understand, granted, I haven't played enough of it because the Old Republic was a game that I started with a friend. We played one night together, and then he lost interest and didn't bother to tell me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. When it went free to play, I started playing it again, and I kind of pushed through one of the stories, and it's all right. But
I would imagine it's all right, but the thing is that it also has the problem of MMO pacing.
Yeah, and in some games, I'm okay with MMO pacing, but well, actually, in a lot of games, but they tried to make this an RPG, like a straight-up RPG, and the MMO pacing just slows all of that down so much.
Basically, you want Knights of the Old Republic 3.
I would love a Knights of the Old Republic 3, or honestly, any other style of RPG. It could be a Western style, Fallout or Elder Scrolls RPG, or it could be a JRPG. That's probably why I've been so hooked on Star Wars. What is it? Galactic. I suddenly can't remember the name of the game.
Well, let's put it this way. I put in
Galaxy of Heroes.
Star Wars role-playing games, and I get a Wikipedia link. Tabletop role-playing games, the ones that we played. Role-playing video games, Knights of the Old Republic, and then the MMOs, the Old Republic, Star Wars Galaxies, which is dead now. Star Wars...
Well... you can play Star Wars Galaxies. There's
emulated server,
but it's terrible because it's dead. I tried that last year. There's like 3,000 total players worldwide. You can never find anyone on. It's just a desert wasteland.
Yeah, and then there's some text-based thing that looks like it's based around a forum, which I'm sure that would be amazing now.
Yeah, but I just wanted to play another Star Wars RPG. Because I've played the kind of the definitive Star Wars RPGs like 40 times a piece. So, but yeah, looks like I'm SOL.
This is going to get me some hate. I haven't actually played through either Knights of the Old Republics. I have them both. I just haven't sat down and played through them.
That's all right. KOTOR 1 is hard to play now because it doesn't run properly on modern resolutions. You can edit the .ini files, and there's some mods and stuff that will fix it, but... it suffers from being old. KOTOR 2 works fine.
Yeah, but then you have to bot in the extra content.
Yeah, so...
Which, thankfully, the Steam version has added workshop support.
Yeah, so that's not so bad. Maybe I should play KOTOR 2 with the extra content. I've only played through it once with the added content, because I used to play it on Xbox, which didn't have it, so... Maybe I'll do that. Put that in the list of games to start playing.
Yeah, a lot of Star Wars stuff is more based around the action of the series. And I would say that Star Wars, yes, it does have its action sequences, but it's a lot stronger of a universe. It's a shame that there's no real RPGs outside of Knights of the Old Republic.
I would like to see a modern RPG in the Star Wars universe where you can choose to be a Jedi or Sith, and you start as, whatever their training is, either a Padawan or I don't know what the Sith apprentices are called, but regardless, start as one of those. And it's an RPG game, a modern RPG.
Sith apprentices are called douches, or at least that's what what I would assume from the prequels.
Nice. Have you ever seen the Clone Wars animated series?
Bits and pieces of it.
You should watch it. It really changes how you feel about some of the prequel characters. It's way better than the movies.
Did you ever see the fan-made thing harping on cops for Star Wars? Oh. You need to see this. I'm going to go searching for this while we chatter away for a bit, because you would love this.
Okay. I'll watch it later whenever you find it, but I'll watch it. Are you done with your games? Is it time for me to move on to mine? Okay. Well, the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the Steam Link. They went on sale for $20 during the winter sale, and I bought one, and set it up this past week, and have been toying around with it. So there's some good things, and I think I've got all of the kinks worked out. But there's also some really shitty things.
Well, we know that you really need to work out your kinks.
Touche. So the Steam Link, I mean, does what it says on the tin. It, lets you stream games from a PC to a TV without needing a second computer.
Well, this sounds familiar.
Which I have. I mean, I've got a laptop. I've got, 3 desktops. The server machine, I still got to finish putting it together. But, I have lots of PCs. But the problem is that my entertainment center doesn't have room for any of them. And I can't put it on the floor because I have a kid.
That we haven't planned this, that we didn't plan both talking about some sort of streaming thing.
No. So those are kind of out. There's no room to fit it in. So I thought, I've been wanting to buy a Steam Link to try it out anyways. Might as well, since they're cheap, and then I can talk about it on the podcast after it gets here and I get it set up. So you can, first of all, there's no instructions that come with it, which I don't care because I can figure stuff out on my own. But the kind of person, there are people they're trying to sell this to, I think. I mean, not everybody who plays PC games has this, really intense technical knowledge and builds their own rigs and everything. What if it's some mom who wants to set it up to surprise her kid, or, something like that, or just somebody who bought a pre-built PC that is pretty decent for gaming.
Say this is the Google problem. And hear me out on this.
Okay.
Google products, at least in the past, I haven't toyed around with any of the newer ones to see if this is still an issue. They're built by engineers. They're built by geeks.
Yeah.
Who understand everything that they need to do to get things to run and all the ins and outs. The problem is that they don't think about the end user nearly as much as they should.
So if you don't say that.
Yeah, so if you don't know that, you don't know how everything works, you're completely lost until you start hunting around and trying to figure out a guide.
Yeah, so on the box,
there's an exploded view of everything.
Yeah, there's a schematic on the box. I'm like, what the hell is this for? Who is this? I mean, it looks neat, but why?
Okay. The reason why that is there is for modding. Because, this is more going on the controller side of things, the Steam controller. Is that the Steam controller is supposedly very moddable, and there are some third-party parts out already. Mostly limited to just the battery casing so far. But they made it where you could swap out practically everything out of that controller. And I imagine the Steam Link is built to be able to do some modding on the case itself.
That makes a little bit of sense, but why put the schematic on the box? It'd be easier to have it online. Or have a diagram.
Because it looks impressive.
It didn't look impressive. It looked like they were having a dick-waving contest with someone. Regardless, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. I was like,
if you're not impressed by it, they're not going to release Half-Life 3.
Well, I guess I just screwed everyone out of Half-Life 3 because I'm not impressed. Anyways, so I get it set up. I got off of my train of thought. So there's no directions in the box. There's there's this little thing. It's a page, and it's got 2 pictures on it. And what it's supposed to do, and because I realized what it's supposed to do, this is supposed to be showing, okay, if you want to set it up for wired connection, do it this way. And if you want to set it up for wireless connection, do it that way. But I handed this to Katie, and I was like, what does this mean? And she looked at it for a few minutes, and she was like, I don't know.
She looked at it, turned the page at 90 degrees, turned the page another 90 degrees.
She flipped over. She's like, where's the rest? I was like, no, that's it. She's like, this is worse than IKEA furniture directions. And then I explained it. I was like, well, I mean, I know this because, this is what I do, but pretend you had bought this for me and you wanted to set it up as a gift. She's like, I couldn't do it. I'd just give it to you. So, it's no directions or anything. They also don't have any directions online to tell you how to get this thing set up properly. Because
I imagine that there's probably a couple of YouTube videos from third parties, and that's the documentation, essentially.
Yeah.
It's the KSP approach where you get into the tutorial and it tells you the basic controls and how to kind of fly. But to really understand things, you have to go to Scott Manley.
Yeah. So anyway, so I hooked it up. I was going to try it wireless. Like, I know that a wired connection would be better, but I thought, well, the Steam streaming to my laptop or whatever works fine wirelessly. So, this might be good enough as well. Plus, it's sitting pretty close to my router. So I went with wireless, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And I get it plugged in, and it's one of those things like for first-time setup, whenever you turn on your TV and switch over to that input, it turns on. And so it turns on, and it's like, it wants you to do things. And it's like, I don't have anything hooked up to this. Does it work wirelessly with the Steam controller? Do I have to use the little dongle? Do I need to plug something in?
Well, I do know that the Link has the dongle built into it.
Didn't know that, actually. I looked up online, and it's like, if you want to use your Steam controller, if you have this version of the Steam controller, you just have to plug it in. And I went, okay. So I plugged in my Steam controller's dongle, and that's how it's connected.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the Steam Link has the dongle for the Steam controller built into it, and it also has Bluetooth built into it.
But so then you go to network settings, and if you don't have a certain version of the Steam Link, which I didn't have, it won't automatically search for networks. You have to actually put in all of your network information, which is fine because I know all that stuff. But again, what if you're somebody who doesn't?
Yeah.
So
I'm going to suggest a video to you, and I'm going to drop this in the show notes for later. There's a YouTube channel called Battle Nonsense, and he does a lot of network stuff, and he did an extensive video over the Steam Link and how the bit rate, which I'm assuming you're going to be coming to, needs to be updated to get a really good quality over more fast-paced games. And you have to do some more hackery for it.
Yep. So I put in all my network. That's going to be in
the show notes, or just search Battle Nonsense game streaming link lag analysis, Steam Link lag analysis. You'll find it pretty easily.
Right. So I put in all my network information. I connect to my router. It downloads all of its updates, gets set up, good to go. Then it starts crashing. Just repeatedly crashing. Like, it would crash, and then it would lock up my desktop, and I'd have to press the reset button on my desktop. Or, hold down the power button and do it that way. Couldn't figure out why. For the life of me. So I went and looked online. Constant crashing, go to the beta version. Okay, so I go to the beta version, stops constantly crashing. Then I run a network test, and it's telling me that I have 5% packet loss, or 5% data loss, and
there's
a lag of 1 point something seconds. And I'm like, I'm on a 5 gigahertz network with the box like 10 feet away from my router. This is terrible.
Maybe Remotr wasn't running through a remote network after all.
So the only thing that I can come up with, because I did some research, I couldn't find out the answer. The only thing I can come up with is that this has a very low power Wi-Fi transceiver.
Yeah, he was talking about the Wi-Fi isn't exactly ideal.
Yeah, that, or that on a proper PC, when you stream to it, Steam is actually using some of the client's processing power to help kind of compensate for that stuff, and the Steam Link doesn't have any of that. Those are the only two things I could come up with.
The in-home streaming, it does have a fair amount of processing going on the client side as well as the host side. Because I would do remote streaming with my notebook, and it did get a little toasty, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it running full tilt. So there was some stuff going on there, but I would say more it's probably either your Wi-Fi signal, which is, I'm not sure how strong the signal was. The fact that you were getting that much packet loss means that something was going on signal wise, or it's just underpowered Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there could be some interference too. I mean, this thing is sitting in my entertainment system with 4 other Wi-Fi connected devices, and
it could be
there's some glass and stuff in there. It could just be
it could be just interference. Just so much signal noise.
Right, but so it was unplayable. So I got out a 25-foot network cable that I have and strung it over things. This is just temporary. I'm gonna put it up proper so it looks nice, and Katie won't kill me. But
break out the duct tape.
temporarily, I just got a really long network cable and run it behind and over things and plugged it in. And that eliminated that problem, so that was good.
Well, if we find you dead with the hanging from that network cable, we know Katie did it.
Yes. But so then it started working better. That was good. But then it still kept crashing. I would play games for 20 or 30 minutes, and then it would hang. And it would still be running on my PC. Like, I could walk over to my desk and sit down, and I could keep playing the game. And I could even play it using, like, the Steam controller plugged into the Steam Link. But it would just be frozen on the TV. I'd have to...
the video?
Yeah. I'd have to force shut down the Steam Link or just unplug it, because sometimes the menu wouldn't even come up. It would just completely lock up and reset it. Or I'd have to reset my PC, which, cuts the connection. Eventually Steam Link goes, oh, there's no connection. I guess I should go back to the menu. And then I can control it from there. You know what my problem was with that?
What?
You know why it does that? Because big picture mode fucking sucks. I did a little more research, and everyone was like, yeah, sometimes big picture mode just does that for no reason, and there's no fix for it. So,
I do not like big picture mode. Well, the thing is that I have really no use for big picture mode because I don't stream to a television, but it's actually prevented me from using the DualShock 4's support and Steam, because the way you bring up big picture mode on a computer is you hold down the home button, or for the DualShock 4, the PS button. That is also the power button.
Oh, so nice.
If I'm turning on the controller and I have it held down for too long, but when it makes its connection, it says, all the PS buttons down. I should probably launch big picture mode down, because that's exactly what you want to do instead of turning on the controller. Let alone turn off the fucking thing, because guess what you have to do to turn off the fucking controller?
Go through big picture mode and turn it off?
No. To turn off the controller, not big picture mode.
Oh. Pull the battery out?
You
can't do that on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Okay.
It is a serviceable battery if you're willing to crack open the controller, because it's a sealed controller. You have to hold down the PlayStation button.
Nice.
But that's the reason why I turned it off completely, is that using DualShock for Windows, one of the other reasons why I use DualShock for Windows is that I'm able to turn off the dead zones to make it a little less fidgety. But instead of holding down the PS button for 10 seconds, just hold down options and the PS button for 1 second while tilting it up as kind of just a safety measure. And 1 second it turns off.
Well, that's frustrating. So the only way to connect the Steam Link is through big picture mode. So here's what I have to do. I have to power up the Steam Link.
Okay.
Connect it to my PC, which fires up big picture mode. Then I have to use either the mouse or the Steam controller, go to turn big picture mode off. Then the Steam Link, thank God, stays connected to your PC, and you can use it just like, your team viewing in, or, you're just remoting into your PC. And then you can launch games that way. And so far, it doesn't crash. I played Valkyria Chronicles for like 2 hours, and it didn't crash, didn't hang up, nothing. Ran beautifully. I think that if the issue is something on like my problem with, too much interference or whatever, wireless would be serviceable. You'd have to turn the connection settings down from like beautiful to like the balance mode or the performance mode. But even that was still okay, because I tested that anyways just to see what they look like. They're not too bad. So I think that it would run wirelessly
something like
fine.
Valkyria Chronicles, there's not a lot of action.
Yeah.
So you can get away with it. The thing is that the Battle Nonsense video, which is in the show notes now, he was testing it with F1 2016, I think it was, and there's a lot of movement on the screen.
Yeah.
So you're going to see the blocky stuff like I was talking about with Mad Max on Remotr.
Yeah. Well, I tested it with a few games, like just really rapid fire, like just checking it out, seeing what games looked like and how they performed. You might have seen me do that yesterday once I got it all working. And it performs so far really well. And once I got all the bugs worked out so that it wasn't crashing every 20 or 30 minutes, I it works fine. I mean, it's just like sitting at my desk playing games, except, I'm sitting in my recliner playing them on my TV. And that is wonderful, which is why I want to play some of these games that I haven't played in forever. Because I've been doing this for a while. I'll buy a game and be like, oh, one day I'm going to have a media PC, and I can just stream this to my TV, and then I can play this game on my couch, because it's not the kind of game I want to play sitting at my desk. Like Valkyria Chronicles. I don't want to play that sitting at my desk. I'd rather play that in a big comfy chair, lean back in the recliner, because it's a pretty slow game.
Relaxing and goofing around in the wasteland.
Yeah. It's a pretty slow game, so I'm like, I'd rather sit in my big comfy recliner and do this. And so that's what I've been doing. That's why I played Valkyria Chronicles for like 4 hours this week. But it's really good. Although it's very limited. If you don't have a house that's wired for networking, which most modern houses are, but a lot of older houses aren't, it would be really tough to use unless your entertainment system sits, if your router and everything, like if all of that is where your entertainment system is, then that would be okay. I suspect that the wireless performance would degrade really quickly once you get away, even if, you don't have any interference or anything.
Yeah, I know when I was doing remote streaming with my notebook, I was using a wireless for that, and it'd be all right most of the time, but then you would have a hang, and then everything would pixelate and kind of catch up.
Yeah. So I think that this really needs to be used wired, which I understand why. You're pushing a ton of information to it, and it's not got anything on its end to help it out. So,
you were talking about how you had to exit big picture mode on your computer. If it's essentially like TeamViewer, just remoting in, doesn't it have an option to disable big picture mode directly on the Steam Link without having to go from your computer directly?
You can. You have to once it launches and is in big picture mode, you have to go back to the options menu, which sometimes causes it to hang on the Steam Link. So I just do it on the PC.
I was just wondering about that.
But you absolutely can do it. You can just press the home button on the Steam controller, or if you're not using a Steam controller, manually navigate up to the options menu, and then go into the settings and turn off big picture mode. And then it just works like TeamViewer, but sometimes it crashes. So
just do like TeamViewer.
Yeah. So it's got problems, but overall I like it, and it's going to fit in well in our entertainment system. The games that I played on it the most, which I'll transition to those now, was Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. Once I got it set up, Katie was like, oh, hey, you got it working. Let's play some games, because, she knows I have, I'm getting close to 500 games in my Steam library now.
Only?
Whatever, shut up. You're the only person I know who would say that. Only 500. But anyways, we went
other people would be like, you have 500 games? How do you have that many?
Yeah. But so we went through and we made a list of games to try. And then once we got finished with that, she's like, I know we have this list, but we've played Sonic before, and I'd really like to just play that. I was like, okay. So we played Sonic Racing for a while. And I tested out a couple of other things on the Steam Link. So natively, you can use the Steam controller. You can use the Xbox One controller now. Now you can use it natively. Used to, you would have to have the dongle and plug it in and connect it just like you would a PC. But it can just directly connect now.
Yeah, you're talking about the newer Xbox controllers that have the Bluetooth enabled, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just making sure.
The older controllers that don't have that still have to use the dongle. But if you got a Bluetooth Xbox controller, you can use the dongle, which I have one Bluetooth, and then I have two controllers that work with the dongle. So I tried them both, and they both work fine. You can use a Wii U controller natively, because it's Bluetooth. You can't use the nunchuck. You have to use the Pro controller. But, that's basically an Xbox 360 controller. Mm-hmm. And I've got one of those because I have a Wii U. So I tried that out. It works fine. And then you can use a PS4 and a PS3 controller natively, but I don't have either of those, so I don't know how well they worked. And supposedly you can use an Xbox 360 controller either plugged in, USB, or using the dongle, but I don't have any of those, so I couldn't try it. And then there's a whole list of third-party controllers that work, and then stuff that works plugged in by USB. Pretty much, if you can plug your controller into it with a USB cord, it'll work. You just might need a really long USB cord. But, so, that was nice. I basically have, how many controllers do I have for it? 3, 4, 5. I have 5 controllers for it, just laying around the house. by default, so that's nice. Anyways, we played some Sonic, which I think I've talked about Sonic before. It's a kart racing game, basically like Mario Kart.
Yeah, pretty much the best kart racing game you could get on PC right now.
It is. I actually really, I think I prefer it to Mario Kart because I like its gimmick better.
It's a lot more fair.
Yeah. Plus,
yes, it does have its equivalent of the blue shell. There's actually really two things that would be kind of blue shellish, but one is it doesn't punish you for being in the lead. It gives a boost to people that are further behind. Mario Kart does this as well, but there's not a direct hit. And the other one is that it leans more towards giving a power up that shrinks everyone else, but the person that gets it. Which there's the same thing in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Also, the closest thing you get to a blue shell is, I believe, the Wasp tornadoes.
No, I forget what it's called. It's like the RC car. The Wasp tornadoes just drive down the middle of the track and then stop at some point and deploy basically a minefield.
I wasn't sure if it went to the first to whoever was in first or not, but it's something that you could avoid. And the RC car you can boost to get away from.
You can, but you have to have a boost or be coming out of a corner with a really good power slide because the RC car's faster than you by default.
Yeah.
And the tornado does go all the way to first place, but you can dodge it. It just goes straight down the middle of the track.
I would say the tornado is probably essentially the blue shell, but it's avoidable.
Right.
This game RC car is your red shell, I think it is, the one that homes.
Yeah, the RC car is the red shell. The snowballs are the equivalent. Well, the snowballs and the rocket launcher are the equivalent of green shells. The rocket's a single use, and the snowballs are 3. But anyways, I like it better because it rewards skillful driving. The power slides are worth a lot more boost than they are in Mario Kart. And the different vehicles, it's called transformed because your car transforms between a car, a boat, and a plane. And it just depends on what track you're on as to which ones you transform into or which one you're on most of the time. And all 3 of them handle really differently. So, there's it feels like there's a skill level that you need to acquire to control the different vehicles and make the best out of whichever tracks you're on. So,
yeah, I kind of wish the Team Fortress character it didn't switch between 3 of them, because I would have loved to seen Heavy, in a little boat.
That would be hilarious. I play General Winter because he's got a tank, which transforms into a sub and then a MiG. The one
I played the most, I believe it was Metal Sonic.
Yeah.
But I also was doing one of the crazy taxi guys, and I can't remember who.
Yeah, I don't know quite a few of the Sega characters. I know plenty of them, but I would just know him as Crazy Taxi Guy.
Yeah.
Which I know there's more than one, but I don't know their names,
Well, it's the black one, which makes it incredibly racist.
Incredibly racist not to know. Just the black guy. But anyways, so yeah, we played that for a couple hours, and that was fun. And then I played Valkyria Chronicles the most on it. And I really like Valkyria Chronicles. I've actually never played it before. I bought it a couple of years ago when it first popped up on Steam. And I wanted to play it. I didn't own a PS3. And it was one of the only games that made me consider buying a PS3.
Mm-hmm.
But, it popped up on Steam, and I was like, well, screw that. I'm not going to buy a secondhand PS3 anymore. I'll just buy it on Steam and play it. And it's been sitting in my library for forever. I ran the trading card or Steam Idler on it and got my trading cards, but I've never actually played it until this past week. And I played it for about 3 hours. And it's, for those of you who don't know, it's a pseudo turn-based strategy game.
Yeah, it's sort of a mixture of a turn-based strategy and a third-person shooter.
Yeah. So it's an alternate World War II game, where you play some people. They're like a tiny country that's being invaded by the equivalent of Hitler. It's been too long that I can't
remember the name of the characters. But if you want to know the story, there's actually an anime based on it.
Is there? The game looks very much like an anime.
Yeah, well,
like a really tastefully done anime.
Yeah, there's an anime of it.
What is it?
Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh, okay. Okay. I guess I'll have to find that and watch it. But
if I recall correctly, it's like 50 episodes too. It's a longer one. While you chat away, I'm going to go look it up just to make sure of that.
Playing the game feels like you're watching an interesting anime because the game is told, from the perspective of people who survived the war, and they're retelling this story. And so you're going through this journal, and you get to an entry, and you can play a video or look at a photo, and the photo starts a conversation or something from the past.
Okay, I found it already. It's Valkyria Chronicles, well, the Japanese name for it. Right. And it is a longer anime. It's 26 episodes, not 50 some. But that's still very long for anime. That's 2 seasons.
That's 2 seasons, yeah.
And I'm not sure if it goes along the entire game or not. But I'm looking here. A fictitious continent reminiscent of 1930s Europe. The continent called Europa is divided between 2 main powers: the Imperial Empire, monarchy in the east, and the alliance of democracies called the Federation in the west.
Yeah. So, that's the gist of the story so far, but I'm only on mission 3. It does take a while to get from mission to mission. That might change as I get farther in the game, but I'm still basically in the beginning.
Well, they really... I've played through a fair chunk of the game. There are a couple of points that you get a severe difficulty spike, but they really try to push you into doing some of the side stuff, some of the side missions to be able to level your characters up. And,
I haven't even got there yet.
Yeah,
I'm still on the linear track. I just got the tank.
You start to branch out and get a lot of side mission stuff. And the thing that I hate about the game is actually how they score your success in the mission. You would think for a turn-based strategy game based around individual characters that keeping those characters alive would be worth more than speed. But no, getting a mission done in as few turns as possible and risking your characters actually gets you more, gives you a better ranking, which in turn gives you more experience.
Can you replay missions to get more experience? Okay, that's good. I don't care to grind it out. I'm not going to do that. No. I play strategy games very slowly.
You can't grind it out. You can only improve, if I recall correctly.
Oh, okay.
That's why. That's another thing that I don't particularly like.
Whatever. I'll figure it out. But yeah, it's got a really beautiful art style.
I have 12 hours in the game.
Love the art style. Love the story so far. Really liking the characters on first impression. And I do like the fact that it feels like an anime, because I really like anime. That might be a turnoff for somebody who doesn't like anime, but regardless, it's a great game. And I love
the fact that all the little side characters that you get, because it's not just the main couple characters. You have an entire squadron, and you could bring in there's just a boatload of different characters, and all of them at least have some backstory and a lot of personality to them.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to playing this game more. This is basically going to be my frontline game for the next few weeks as I play through it.
You're making me want to play it again.
Sitting on my couch.
It's a game that I've been actually kind of going back and forth on doing on the channel, because the problem with it is that the missions start to get longer and longer. Even now, they're pretty long. I mean, most of the missions take 15 to 20 minutes. At least the way I play. I'm pretty methodical. You haven't gotten to the bosses yet. No, I haven't. I just finished, I think it's mission 3, where you have to hold the gate on the town, and you get the tank, and you blow up the other tank, and then you win the mission. I just finished that mission. Yeah, there's some very, very long missions. But let's see. I'm trying to remember the character name. There's this very, very flamboyant person that you get. Here he is, Jan Walker, Jann Walker. He's a lancer, and he's extremely flamboyant, and he's in every single mission I do. Nice. And all the different characters have their different voices, and all of them have different likes and dislikes, and this impacts how well they perform, because there'll be a person that's more attuned to nature. So, in a mission that's out in the countryside, they perform better than urban missions. There's a lot of depth to this game that you wouldn't think of it offhand.
Nice. I'm still basically in the tutorial,
Yeah.
I think, because, they taught me how to use the tank, and, Yeah,
I kind of, I hit the first boss, or I should say the first real boss, because if I recall correctly, there's like a mini boss that you would meet before this, and there's a couple of the longer missions where I don't want to spoil too much, but it takes a while to get through them.
Yeah.
And it's more of almost survival, nearly. But the first real boss I hit, I did the boss, and then there was another phase I wasn't counting on, and I'd already spent quite a while getting that boss down. So I just set it down, and I never picked it back up. It's something I really should do, actually, is get back to it.
Yeah, I probably won't put out any content for this, because I do like to keep games to myself sometimes, and I really enjoy this, and I would hate having to record it and get stuff ready and put it out. I think it would kill the enjoyment for me for this one. So I'm going to keep this one just for me and just play it through.
I will say that some people don't like the kind of the border that they have around everything. And there are mods to disable that.
The border?
Yeah, whenever you're in a game, the sort of the white border around the edge.
Oh, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. I don't care.
It's an artistic choice, though.
It is.
I will say that it looks very good.
Beautiful game. But, okay, well, the last game I played this week was one that you played last week. Yeah. Celestial Command.
Yeah, I've had a couple people playing this. You and Kyle played it. Kyle had the same issues I did.
I have not had any of those issues. The only issues I have had is the game has crashed on me twice. In the span of 4 hours, which does not make me happy because you can't F5 or anything like that. It's got a really convoluted and stupid save system because because the single player server thing, stupid.
Yeah, essentially single player. You're still running a multiplayer server. You're just by yourself.
Right. But I like it. I haven't had any sort of performance problems or anything. I haven't had any crazy weird glitches. But it needs work. It needs polish. I've enjoyed my time in it. I went back to it. So I played like an hour, like just kind of getting the gist of it down because there's no tutorial or anything. And I didn't go look it up online. I kind of wanted to learn it for myself. Mm-hmm. So I spent about an hour learning how things work. And then I spent the next couple of hours playing around in, what's it called? Dev mode or... Sandbox mode. Sandbox mode.
I will say that if you played KSP, you should be able to jump into this. Well, not counting the strangeness of the game itself, but the basic mechanics fairly easily. Actually,
it's got really simplified orbital mechanics. If you've ever played KSP,
that's why I called it a sort of a step between simple rockets and KSP. Is that there is more complexity there. Especially on the ship side of things and the life support.
Yeah.
But it's essentially simple rockets on the orbital side of things.
Right. But so I spent a couple hours in sandbox mode just playing around, learning the other specific mechanics, because there's a few oddities about mining and building things that I didn't realize.
Of course you'd be
mining. And combat's kind of stupid. I don't like combat. I just try to avoid it.
I never reached combat. What's it like?
It's pretty much impossible to do on your own. You have to build turrets and things, and you can either control the turrets, but they will shoot wherever you tell them to. So you might accidentally blow parts of your ship off and things like that. So I just leave it set on automatic. But even then, a little teeny tiny ship is difficult to hit, and they will tear apart your big capital ships or your big production ships.
So
they'll literally tear them in. They'll literally tear them in half, and then half of your ship won't work. Well, probably none of your ship will work because everything is interconnected. Yeah. And then it's like, well, shit. So
it's the Death Star problem. It's a capital ship going against a capital ship. Not that big an issue, but trying to hit a little fighter,
Yeah, it's really frustrating. And there's no, I mean, you can't really control your ship because it's all based on orbiting. So, whenever you fly around, you might, close some distance or whatever, but you just fucked up your orbit and who knows what you're going to crash into. So combat kind of sucks. If you had like little attack drones that you could send out or something like that, or better ways to control your weapons, it would be okay.
I'm surprised that there's nothing like that because I do know that there's construction drones.
There are, but there's no attack drones.
Yet.
Yeah, yet. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be any or not, but so that last hour I spent, what I did was I created a ship and sandbox to be like my base of operations. Because trying to start out any other way in that game is really frustrating and your crew's probably going to die. So I created a base of operations ship that had everything that I needed to sustain a crew of 3. And then I built a small mining ship and docked it to my main ship. And then I just started going around collecting resources and working on building stuff.
Yeah, trying to start off with the mining ship, you're given, I think, 15 minutes of life support.
Which is not enough.
It's 15 or 30, but yeah, not nearly enough. And you don't really have a way to get more life support right off the bat.
Yeah, you have to dock and buy some, which you might run out of life support before.
And you don't have anything to sell, I don't think.
Well, you start with 500 credits, which is enough to buy like an hour's worth of life support. But even then, that might not be enough, depending on what your orbits are and how long it takes you to catch up. And
also how the solar system generates.
That's true.
Because
you might
it's
not get good
generation.
placements. Or the ships might crash into asteroids or planets or whatever. Or get killed by pirates.
Or whenever you dock, the station may just throw you into the fucking sun.
That hasn't happened to me yet. I've docked a few times. That hasn't happened.
I will say that docking is a bit harder than KSP. They don't have the margin of error that KSP has with the magnets.
Really? I found it easier. Because you only have to worry about a single plane.
Well, it wasn't so much the lack of a third plane. It was just that I had to be more precise. And, the station was already starting to turn. So maybe it's just, I was dealing with the station doing weird things to begin with. This was the station that threw me into the sun, by the way.
Right.
So maybe, that was the premonition of, you don't want any of this. No, back off, back. Okay, then.
But, yeah, it wasn't so bad. I did it. There are some really frustrating things, and this might be, I don't know if this is the game itself, it doesn't give you enough information to create the orbits that you want. You just have to guess and brute force everything.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a maneuver node or anything in this.
No, and
which that's why I said that you really need to have either some time with simple rockets or KSP to understand the orbital mechanics, because they give you enough delta V and enough leadway that you could kind of brute force ways, but you need to be able to hit the transfers pretty decently on your own without any outside help.
Yeah, and at least on, I don't know if it changes or every time it reloads or what, but so far every time you can't get very large orbits or very high altitude orbits around at least the starting planet, because my thought is, well, okay, all of the space stations are in close, at least every time I've played, and the
that's
asteroid
not
belt,
always true.
And then the asteroid belt seems to be roughly the same distance away. I mean, they have differing orbits, but my thought was, okay, I'll just go outside of all of this stuff, establish a high orbit, and then work from there. And I got to where I wanted to be, and then my line turned yellow. And I'm like, well, shit, because that means that you're leaving
the sphere
and heading to orbit the sun. Yeah. So
the other option is always trying to go to a low orbit.
Yeah, but then I'm worried about accidentally crashing into the planet, especially if there's any physics issues. If there's physics issues and I'm out there, I can take some time to fix it. But if I'm in a close orbit, I'll just crash.
Yeah, you can see where they're having the same problems that KSP did whenever it started off, is that it's having the rounding issues that it had. It has at least for me and Kyle, it has the phantom force issues where the Unity objects are interacting with each other just enough that it builds up more and more force until it slings you into the fucking sun.
Yeah. My suggestion to anyone who wants to buy this, because I had a couple of people ask me, If you're okay with handling that stuff, and if you played Kerbal particularly in the really early alpha days, like the low two, what was it, 2.4, 2.2, whatever.
I would say this right now is the equivalent of the early teens for Kerbal Space Program's version numbers.
I feel like it's a little bit more solid than that, but that could just be anecdotal based on the lack of issues I've had.
Well, remember, I've had stations dropping out of orbits without me interacting with them. There's something seriously wrong with the rounding numbers there.
Yeah, I haven't had any of that happen. I've actually had stations correct their orbit to avoid me.
Yeah, they will do that, which that is cool. But the thing is that I've had a station completely drop out of orbit without any attempt to save itself.
Yeah. But anyway, so if you want to buy that, if you can handle the issues that plagued the early days of Kerbal, there's a really solid game underneath all of that. There's a really good base for a game. And I'm going to keep playing it and checking in as it goes through development. But, I mean, really, if you're looking for the same sort of thing I am, building spaceships and harvesting asteroids, it's probably there, good enough for you. And it's cheap enough that, if you've got curiosity, I would say it's worth a look. And if you don't like it, just refund it. It's a pretty solid game. I'm looking forward to its development.
Yeah, I'm going to look at it again once it leaves its alpha stages and goes into a beta stage.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not there enough for me, and I don't want to have it sitting there. Well, particularly buying it during a sale where I'd already paid well over half my wallet for gifts.
Yeah. I paid full price for it.
Well, the thing is that me refunding this opened up me getting Life is Strange and If My Heart Had Wings for next month's game club. So I think that was the better move.
Yeah. I paid full price
go
for
vote
it, but it was
now.
like $10. Yeah, go vote. We checked it, and it's 5 for Life is Strange, 4 for If My Heart Had Wings, and 2 for Katawa Shoujo. So
yeah,
still pretty close.
The voting is a lot closer than I thought it would be, and this excites me.
Yeah. Okay, well, we spent a lot longer on games than I thought that we would. So here's to hoping that our news topics are a little bit short.
People like when we go 5 hours long.
They do, but I don't always like to go that long. Just our nice 3-hour mark. That's good. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. What's our first news topic? Let me go look at the list.
Steam
Nvidia.
Beta.
Oh, yep. Steam Beta adds Xbox controller support. We kind of talked about this
a
little bit when we were discussing the Steam Link.
It basically brings the flexibility that they already added to, that the Steam controller has natively, and then brought to the DualShock 4 controller, which, like I said, I turned it off just because it pissed me off. That's the sad thing, is that there's a lot of flexibility there, but the fact that they hog the home button or the PS button, the same button that turns the damn thing on, pissed me off to the degree that I went back to DualShock for Windows.
Yeah. I'm going to try out the Xbox One controller. I mean, I know that I recently swapped over to the Steam controller for most of my games, but I just want to see how it works.
What this is more for isn't for games like Sonic and Valkyria Chronicles that have native controller support. It's for the games that don't work well with controllers.
Right, which would be nice, because especially a lot of older games like Oblivion, it says it has partial controller support. It's a lie. It doesn't. I've never been able to get controller to work with Oblivion.
Or games that just were unable to do controllers, like the original Binding of Isaac.
Yeah.
It was a Flash-based game, and Flash, at least at the time, I'm not sure if they changed it, couldn't do controllers. So the end game said, use Joy to key if you wish to use a controller.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I always think giving people more options is good, and it's nice to see Steam supporting everything, basically.
I've seen a lot of people saying that they don't understand why Steam is supporting comparators, because you would think that Steam would want to push their own controller a lot more. But the thing is that the Steam controller is a very niche product.
It is.
It's a weirdo. It's the controller equivalent of Nintendo.
Yeah. Plus, having more support for more input devices, it just widens the net of people who might purchase games.
Yeah, that's what I was
play.
about to say. Is that Steam is looking at this as a loss leader. They're trying to bring people in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the sales are on the Steam controller and the Steam Link.
The Steam controller was in the top 100.
That's true. So the Steam controller would have had good sales. Don't know about the Steam Link, but I mean, Steam is Steam is basically Walmart.
That's actually a good way to put it, just because of how Steam handles adult games.
Yeah. I mean, Steam is basically Walmart. And Walmart, yeah, they've got their own branded products that, are, well, in Walmart's case, they're cheaper, but, they want to carry all of the brands that people want to buy so that they will come in and buy them from Walmart instead of going to another store or, buying them, basically anywhere else. And so Steam increasing the support bumps up the potential customer base even more. They just want to sell you stuff. They don't care what they sell you. They just want to sell you stuff.
Yeah, they want those sales, and bringing in more and more people is the more important thing, the volume of people. And that's what this is about, is to just bring in more people. Bring in people that have a Xbox controller, and they want to play a game that doesn't quite work all that well. Well, now you can toy around with it. And the fact that the controllers, if this is anything like the DualShock, which I imagine it is, that you'll eventually, once it gets populated a bit more, have users created profiles as well, so you could swap profiles pretty easily.
Yeah,
it's quite the thing for support of non-controller supported games.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
Yeah, I wish that the customization was a little bit better. I mentioned before, I like adding just a hint more dead zone to my DualShock controller, and the Steam version of DualShock for Windows doesn't allow me to alter the dead zones at all.
Yeah.
So that's something I would like to see added. Granted, that is a more of an enthusiast level thing. I would think that would be more enthusiast level. And allow me to modify what button loads up big picture mode, because that just pisses me off.
Yeah.
Turning on the controller, I should not have to then go and turn off big picture mode because it loaded up big picture mode because it saw the PlayStation button was held down. It's annoying.
Yeah.
But I do love the customization of it, and the fact that it has the option to split the touchscreen into two, or the touchpad into two. So you could have essentially two, well, like the not the PlayStation, like the Steam controller has the two touchpads.
Yeah.
Which adds a lot of possibilities for it. Right now, DualShock for Windows only really has one option for it, for the touchpad. Maybe they'll eventually have it where it could split, but I'd be actually really surprised if they could do that.
Yeah.
Do that on at least the free version, because there's a successor to DualShock for Windows, which has a paid option into it. And honestly, DualShock for Windows is fine with me. It's does what I need it to do.
Right. Okay. Well, let's move on to our next topic then. Speed through these and get to the next big one, which will probably round out the show. I'm actually going to bump Tracer up before the Steam Awards, so he's guaranteed to get in there.
I really want to talk about the Steam Awards, so I think we're going long today.
Yeah. Well, before we get there, I'll have to take a bathroom break at some point, but
take a bathroom break, go watch Troops.
Okay. Nvidia announces GeForce Now streaming service.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher for me. Not the fact that they're doing this, but the fact of how they're doing this. Have you ever heard of OnLive?
Yep.
Okay. This is kind of OnLive, but in a very, very stupid business model. what this is it's a metered service, meaning that you pay in and you get a certain number of hours. It's not it's not an all you can eat per month. And that's it's one of those things that it makes me wonder who this is for. What this is well, we should say what the GeForce Now service is. It allows you to essentially stream from one of their top end graphics cards, either the GTX 1060 or the 1080, and each one has a different pricing model as well. And it is on the cheaper side of things, but at the they have different tiers of service here, which is also a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
You pay in. Now I'm trying to find the pricing on this because
it's $25 for 2,500 credits, which is 21 hours of gameplay on the T60 or the GTX 1060, and 10.5 on the 1080.
Yeah,
according to this article.
I was wanting to find it on the article itself, which that's actually not a lot of hours for someone that cares enough about the graphics to want to have this high end of streaming. I think we could agree on that, right?
Yeah, no, this is not enough hours. I mean...
And also, the fact that on top of that, you have to either pay an additional $8 a month to get you unlimited access to a library of PC games, or you bring your own. Yep. What the fuck?
Yeah, what's the point of bringing your own? Like, okay, so my problem with these cloud services, well, besides the fact that the internet in the United States and a lot of other countries is not powerful enough to handle them.
Yeah, we're going to have the same. We're going to have even more issues than what we had with the Steam Link and Remotr with this, just because this is guaranteed to be a third-party server, and we have no idea where the fuck the server would be.
Right. So, anyways, that's my first problem. My second problem is the type of services or the type of people that this service would appeal to most, again, are the type of people who won't use it because they have all of their own equipment. Well, because people who don't play games all that much are not going to want to spend that much money on it. Yeah, when they can play mobile games for free, or free games on Facebook or whatever. So
yeah, when I saw this, I immediately thought, okay, this isn't for the enthusiast level. This is going to be for someone that wants to dive in and play a little bit of games every so often. But then I saw the pricing on it, and it was you said it was $25, so I was expecting it to be at $15, which I think that was on Lives was $15 a month for unlimited access to, I think it was like 150 or 200 games.
Yeah, it was whatever their library was.
It wasn't their complete library, but it was most of it. And it was a lot more current than what they're offering with their $8 extra a month on this service. And then I saw, okay, $25 for 21 hours. That's not a lot. And someone that is going to play only 21 hours a month, they're not going to be getting into this. And then the performance issues kicks in, because I was looking at their specs, and they require a 25 megabit per second download speed. Okay, so this was the minimum. So I did some comparison with YouTube, because that's the best metric I could do. That's equivalent of a 1440 60 FPS stream from YouTube. That sounds really good, doesn't it? But you also have to remember, YouTube compresses the ever-living fuck out of their videos. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned about how the compression's going to be working on this. And the fact that they're trying to use this to show off the power of their high-end graphics cards, I'm balking on seeing who this is for.
So the best country in the world for average internet speed is South Korea.
Yeah, I was.
And their average internet speed.
I'm pretty sure it was either Korea or Japan. I think is also up there.
Japan is number. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So South Korea is number 1, and I understand that this is an average. There's a lot of stuff above it that makes it, but there's also a lot of stuff below
Korea.
It. But South Korea's average connection speed is only 20.5 megabits per second.
Yeah, but also remember, someone with a low internet speed brings that average way, way down.
Wow, I'm surprised the U.S.'s average is 12.6. That's high for what I thought it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just do a quick speed test. Granted, it's going to be impacted a little bit just by voice chat, but I'm running 50, right at 50 right now.
That's not too shabby.
Speed. Bounce
checking
between
mine.
50 and 53, so yeah, way over average.
Well, if it'll load speed test.
So yeah, we would be okay with this service, but the thing is that the average person wouldn't, and it really, really depends on where they put these servers. I imagine that they would have it around the metropolitan areas, New York, San Francisco, probably a couple in the Midwest, maybe Texas or Colorado. But people that live in the in-between spaces are not going to be using this service.
Yeah. So my download speed right now is 60.8 megabits.
And that was the problem with OnLive, is that, there was a lot of problems with OnLive actually, but I don't think they're going to be able to do much with the service. But the thing is that they could use this, I could use the term loss leader for Steam. This could be a loss leader for them to try to bring in more people or have more brand awareness.
I just think it's too expensive.
They don't have to make this be a profitable enterprise for them.
If it was $8 a month, the whole thing, because the $8 a month thing is only on the Shield tablet.
Yeah.
But for $8 a month, I think that would be okay. Like on a PC, that would be fine. That's really inexpensive. Heck, I might use it as like a demo service, $8 a month to try out games that I might want to buy.
Well, here's the thing: is that's what happened to OnLive, was that people were using it as a demo service because they would have the free, I think it was hour or 2 hour of their stream. I think it really depended on the game. Actually, now that I think about it, it's been a while since OnLive has been alive, but they would allow you to try out a game to see how it is before you bought it from them.
Yeah.
Or bought the license from them, because you never actually downloaded the game. You're streaming it from their servers. And a lot of people were using it as a demo service. And for that, this would work great if it wasn't so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. So, eventually this will be a thing. Yeah, eventually technology will get there. Yeah. But we're not there yet.
Yeah, this is the future of gaming, or at least an option for gaming. I don't think this is going to completely take over things, particularly just because hard drive space is getting so cheap. You could just download the massive games, but the fact that this is a metered service, that's what kills it for me.
Yeah.
If this was all you could eat per month, it would be great. Not at that price point, but it's still a bit expensive for the price point, but just shy of 21 hours on a 1080 or 10 hours on a, sorry, I went to...
You got it backwards.
Yeah, I went to another article and they have it worded oddly. But yeah, it's just... it's just so weird how they have this set up. I don't know what they're thinking on this.
Yeah.
Maybe this is, them trying it, floating the possible business model, and they'll change it later on.
Yeah. One day we'll be there. And I mean, one day I'd be happy to have it. It just has to be affordable and the performance has to be there.
Yeah, and I really think this is them trying to use this as a demo service to show off the power of the 1080, because that is their flagship video card right now, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, and this is a good way to demo it, but the thing is that you're going to be fighting the compression thing, and YouTube is having a lot of problems with video games right now, because there's just so much detail in them. the big one that I've seen lately is Far Cry Primal. There's just so much foliage and everything that even on really high bit rates, it just turns into a pixelated mess. There's just too much information.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of catching up to do in technology. I think video games are now outstripping, like video game performance has outstripped internet performance. Mm-hmm. Like they've both grown over the years, but I mean, video games have grown in leaps and bounds. And I mean, it was difficult, but a few years ago, you know, you could get gigabit from places. Before that, I mean, you could get high-speed internet in the 90s. It wasn't like amazing, but you know, compared to dial-up, it was the shit.
Yeah, the thing is that, at least in a lot of cities I've seen, the monopolies that the telecoms have been fighting tooth and nail to try to keep services like Google Fiber out of them. Because they know that as soon as there's a second option, they have to improve their service. And right now, that they could just literally laugh at you on the phone because there's nothing you could do. If Sunlink cuts me off, I have to move.
Yeah. If you want internet, that is.
Yeah.
That's one of the problems that we've had because we're talking about moving in the next 6-8 months. That's one of the problems we've had because I'm like, I will not go anywhere that I can't get good internet.
Should I prep Kyle then?
Maybe. His internet kind of sucks though, so.
Yeah, but at least he'll be around for a couple weeks.
Yeah. But, so yeah, it's made it difficult. If we could move to Chattanooga, houses are really expensive in Chattanooga, but if we can move there, they have municipal fiber, which is really cheap. A gigabit connection is cheaper than the internet that we have right now.
Or could you make sure to get a place with a basement that has a room that I could go into?
Sure. Just move right in.
What's that strange noise coming from the basement?
Oh, that's just Rage. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just don't wake him up.
Don't wake him up and he won't wake you up. All right, let us move on from this to our next news topic, which is Tracer is confirmed gay. Now, I know that this happened.
Well, why shouldn't she be happy?
Now. Yeah, I know this happened like 3 weeks ago now or something like that, but I still think it's really important that we talk about it, which is kind of ironic because it shouldn't be a big deal, but it is.
My big thing is, and so what?
Yeah.
Well, everything I saw news-wise on it, outside of the initial, oh my God, Tracer's gay, is why aren't more gamers pissed off about this?
Yeah,
I mean, really, that's what I saw was people trying to stir up a bullshit because there wasn't bullshit being stirred up. Because I'd like to think that a lot of gamers are more progressive in their thinking.
Yeah. I mean, most gamers are younger people.
Yeah.
I mean, not all, but the demographic is between,
the average
like
gamer
30s
is still
and below.
Yeah, the average gamer is still, I think, in the ballpark of the low to mid 30s. So
yeah, which most people in that age range and younger are very progressive. Like, who cares if you're gay? Just live your life and be happy, and whatever. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it's not a big deal.
The news articles being surprised and trying to stir up shit. Did they see some of the fan art that involves Tracer?
Yeah.
Particularly after the whole hoopla over Tracer's ass? I mean, really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to see it. I'm glad. We need way more we need way more LGBT people or characters in our games anyways. We need them everywhere, and they're starting to come out a lot more in TV and movies, particularly TV. I feel like they're leading the way in that in terms of media. Well,
I think the reason why we don't really see it in gaming as much is that there's this still stigma about gaming is that it's still considered a toy by the older generations.
Right.
And while it does have the protection of being an art style in the United States, I've watched a video very recently talking about the the censorship in Germany about video games and how they were talking about how video games aren't art there. And so they have these really crazy amount of censorship, turning people into robots because shooting a robot is more accessible than, or more acceptable than shooting a person.
Right.
So we're on the way there. It's just the fact that because there's that stigma, and it's actually kind of Nintendo's fault because when they remarketed or when they kind of revived the video game industry in the United States, they talked about video games being a toy,
right?
Instead of
marketed as a toy to kids.
And that idea stuck and has never really gone away. And when in the 90s, there was the big fight between Nintendo and Sega versus the U.S. government because of how video games were getting more and more realistic, which, looking back at Mortal Kombat and thinking, my God, this is so photorealistic, is kind of laughable now, isn't it?
It is, but, that's just a testament to how far we've come in so short a time.
But seeing Nintendo and Sega, well, actually Nintendo throwing Sega on under the bus and saying, we don't do this, we're marketing to kids, and our video games are a lot less violent because of it, still reinforced the idea that this is a toy for kids. So now, 20 years later, we're still fighting off that image while Nintendo stays in their little Nintendo land.
Yeah. I mean, they're becoming much more accepted, and that's just the nature of the people who used to play them as kids now still play them as adults, and it's becoming, mainstream and a more adult entertainment medium. I mean, sex games have always existed, particularly in Japan, but sex games are getting more and more popular in, the United States and Europe and things like that. So, and they're becoming a lot more sophisticated.
Well, what's really keeping them from taking off is the Walmart effect, where Walmart and by proxy, our comparison, Steam, is very limiting on what games could show.
Right,
I actually kind of kind of crazy with their restrictions as well, because they'll allow full nudity in The Witcher, but then a visual novel they have to censor.
Yeah, it's completely arbitrary.
Yeah,
but I to some extent I do get that, because kids have access to this stuff, and all of the safeguards in the world will not keep a kid from seeing some boobies or some butts or some dicks when they want to. We've all been kids, especially kids who grew up in the 90s and stuff, who had the internet more rapidly. I was like, yes, I am 18. I want to see them boobies. So, that's not really a preventative measure. And I do understand
the real preventative measure is the parents. And no, I'm not talking about filtering software. I'm talking about talking to your kids about this stuff.
Talk to your kids about this stuff. Let them know honestly, that they're not alone.
And interest in the human body is not a bad thing.
No, just be honest with kids. I know that we're going to have problems with King's teachers when it goes to school, because we've decided we're not going to be like, oh yeah, that's your private place. We don't talk about that. We're going to be like, nope, that's your penis, kid. You pee out of it.
Nice to have a penis. You pee out of it. Nice to have a schlong.
And when you get older, you put it in places that make it feel good.
What you didn't? I'm surprised you don't know the penis song.
I do know it. I just wasn't expecting it. I don't know why I wasn't. I just wasn't. But we've decided we're not gonna call it, whatever. It's like, that's your penis, kid. Yeah. And I know that he's gonna get in trouble at school because he's gonna tell some kid that it's a penis, and then the teacher's gonna be like, you don't say that. And then I'm gonna have to go yell at a principal or something. Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to that. I want to go yell at a principal.
Did you teach him to use the word cock?
Not yet. I like the word cock, though. It's a good word. I like British words for the penis more than American words for the penis. Like, they use cock instead of dick mostly, and they say bell end. Like, does American English even have a word for the head of your dick other than the head of your dick?
Never really thought about it.
In the UK, it's your bell end. I like it.
I had a
in more than one way.
Back in my WoW days, she needed me to log on to her account to do something for her daily quest. One day she was sick, so she sent me her password. And I absolutely hate logging into other people's accounts, so I made her change her password because I don't like knowing other people's credentials in case something happens.
Right.
Well, she had to change it afterwards because she was embarrassed about the password, but she wasn't able to change it. And it was Knob Gobbler.
Nice.
It was Knob Gobbler and a series of numbers.
I'm going to use that as a password now for something.
Well, hopefully not anything important.
Yeah, but I'm not ashamed of anything. If I needed to tell somebody my password.
Yeah, true.
I'd be like, hey, my password's Knob Gobbler. And then those people would be ashamed.
But here's the thing, is I was talking to her just a year or two ago. And she was talking, and we were talking, and she was trying to remember her password. And I said, have you tried Knob Gobbler? And she stopped and said, wait, you remember that? It's like,
how could you forget it?
Yeah, that was exactly what I said.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about Tracer being gay?
More, it's, well, based on the fan art, not a surprise, but honestly, the people there are surprised that there's no outrage about it. Rule 34.
Indeed.
And if you've paid attention, it's not exactly a surprise to a lot of fans.
No.
As a matter of fact, I think it was kind of expected.
Yeah. There's a lot of questioning about it, but now it's confirmed. And also, it is confirmed gay, by the way. There was
there was a little back and forth. Is she bi? Does she have the gay?
But Blizzard confirmed that she is only interested in the lady bits. So, there you go. Alrighty. It's time for that bathroom break I mentioned.
Alright.
So I'm going to go to the bathroom, and then when we come back, we will talk about the Steam Awards.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
So we're back from our bathroom breaks, and we're here to talk about the Steam Awards. So the main thing that brought this up to me is I got to looking at them and thinking about them.
Yeah, this was all you, by the way.
Yeah, I don't agree with several of these awards.
Well, here's the problem. This was community choice. This wasn't Steam deciding.
Yes. Now, some of them I disagree with just from a personal standpoint, but some of them really don't make sense, even as a community thing. And this could be difference in personality. It could be the hive mind decided they wanted something to happen, and so it doesn't matter that it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or it could be that I'm a little bit out of touch with the more kind of
general
gamer.
The farm animal one, I have a bit of a bone to pick to begin with one of the games.
Yeah.
Or did you see that thing going around? I can't remember if I put in the links or not, and does it really matter? But we're getting ahead of ourselves. These are in the same order for us, right? Villain Most in Need of a Hug.
I think so.
I thought the game was cool before it won an award.
Yeah. I think that it goes in the order which they were put up to vote.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one, Villain Most in Need of a Hug, went to Portal 2.
And, we should say what the nominees are first.
Okay.
The other nominees were Borderlands 2, Dead by Daylight, Far Cry 4, and Far Cry 3. Which, honestly, I don't like the fact that they put two installments of the same franchise in.
Yeah. And Pagan Man and what was the bad guy's name in Far Cry 3?
Honestly, I have no idea because
they're the same bad guy.
I know the bad guy in Far Cry 3 dies halfway through and is replaced by another one that's not nearly as memorable.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way. But then again,
yeah. Anyways, I don't think that either of them make sense anyways because they're crazy. Hugging them wouldn't make any difference. I haven't played Dead by Daylight, so I don't know. Borderlands 2, I get. Borderlands 2? Portal 2, I get. I actually voted for Borderlands 2 because I thought that Handsome Jack really needed a hug.
Oh, well, here's the thing. Well, you haven't played the single player of Portal 2 yet.
No, but I know the gist of the story. I've seen it.
Well,
heard it.
The very end of the story, right before the Jonathan Colton song, that is the scene that I would say cinches it for this award for me. And this is actually the one I voted for.
Right.
So it's that one scene, which I don't want to say any more about just because it does kind of ruin it. But then again, Portal 2, it's already kind of pre-ruined anyway.
Yeah. So
I mean, I understand this one. I could see Borderlands 2, but Handsome Jack is a jackass and he revels in it. So I don't think giving him a hug would change anything. And I don't know Dead by Daylight, so...
Well, he's not that way in the pre-sequel, and I guess that's what I'm doing is I'm bringing that Jack forward into Borderlands 2. Well, here's the thing, is that
I haven't played the pre-sequel, and because it's not the pre-sequel in this, I'm looking at Borderlands 2 as its own thing.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And if you go by the order that they released, then, the pre-sequel wouldn't factor into this. But, if you go by chronological order, it does. And, it's kind of...
Yeah.
So I could understand your reasoning for Borderlands 2, but by the time Borderlands 2 came around, he was too far gone. And I don't think he was the villain in the pre-sequel, or he was... well, that's the thing. Can you view Handsome Jack as a villain in the pre-sequel?
No, but that does carry forward into his character in Borderlands 2. What happens to him shapes him for Borderlands 2, where he is the villain.
Maybe I was just looking at this as, Borderlands 2 as its own thing, and I don't know the story of the pre-sequel, mostly because I couldn't be bothered.
Right.
Okay, so I thought the game was cool.
I thought the game was cool before it won an award. Euro Truck Simulator 2, that was the winner. Mm-hmm. The other nominees are Starbound, Stardew Valley, Unturned, and Paladins.
I disagree with all of these because I would think that this would be more for a more underground hit. And honestly, a couple of these are niche titles, but I'd do all of these.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with Euro Truck Simulator 2. Actually, I would be more okay if it was the first Euro Truck Simulator.
Out of the nominees, I would say, even though it's probably the most popular one on the list, well, I don't know, maybe Paladins bumps it, but I would say Stardew Valley. Just because, it's one of those games that it's well known, but a lot of people kind of write off if they weren't a fan of Harvest Moon back in the day.
Yeah. I voted for Stardew Valley. I understand Starbound, Stardew Valley. Euro Truck Simulator, I don't know much about Unturned. And Paladins, Paladins is an Overwatch-like game. I don't know if that really... It's hard to say when a big game is emulating an even bigger game.
Mm-hmm.
But I do get the first two.
I can understand Euro Truck Simulator. Starbound, it's had a rocky early access, and it did eventually leave early access, if I recall correctly, or it's left early access. I just checked.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if... Actually, now that I really think about it, I would say Starbound, because it had such a negative reaction in early access. And it kind of just dropped off the map for a lot of people, including me. I completely put Starbound out of my mind, and it's improved more and more and more as it went through early access to its official release. That I thought the game was cool before it won an award. I would say Starbound is actually the real winner here, or the one deserving, because it had such a negative reaction, and then it built itself back up to be what seems to be a pretty good release.
Yeah, I could see that, and I would agree with that. Like I said, I voted for Stardew Valley, but I see your reasoning.
I think I voted for Stardew Valley as well, but I didn't really sit down and think about Starbound until just now. So out of those, I would say Starbound is the one most deserving, just because of its rocky early access.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so let's get to the one that has me rather pissed off.
The test of time. And I don't agree with this, actually. The winner was Skyrim.
I don't... No. I don't agree. It's not the fact that Skyrim won. I don't agree with most of the nominations, because the nominations are Team Fortress 2. Okay, that's a fairly old game. That's 10 years old now. Civ 5, that's not a fucking old game. Skyrim is not that fucking old of a game. Terraria is not that fucking old. And Age of Empires 2 HD is a re-release of an old game. So the oldest game on this list, if you don't ignore the fact that that Age of Empires 2 is a remake of an old game, or a remastering of it, or however you want to look at it, is Team Fortress 2. And most of the games on here are under 5 years old.
Yeah.
That is not the test of time.
Well, that's difficult. I disagree that Skyrim should have won. I think it should have went to Team Fortress 2 out of the list.
Yeah, simply because Team Fortress 2 is still in the top 5, I think, of most played Steam games after 10 years.
But internet time is different from real time. Like, things move.
And so is Valve time.
Yeah, but Valve time works the other way. Internet time, things evolve incredibly quickly on the internet, and 5 years is a long time online. So I kind of get some of the reasoning for some of these picks. I don't think remasters should be allowed, and honestly, that's the main reason that Skyrim doesn't do it for me. Because even though the game on the list is the original, or the non-remastered version, Skyrim got a remaster like 2 months ago. And I think that fact is like, oh, this game couldn't stand the test of time. You had to remaster it and re-release it. So I think that disqualifies Skyrim.
Want me to tell you my nomination for this pick?
Sure.
Morrowind.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Granted, the only thing that doesn't stand the test of time is its combat system, but that's only really in the early game. Once you build up your skills, the fact that it's dice rolls behind the scene doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
And the body scene is still absolutely amazing for Morrowind. And I'd much rather want to see Morrowind on here than Skyrim. Or Oblivion. I would say Oblivion would have been a happy medium between the two.
Yeah. I can't remember if I picked a game before they, had all of the nominees. I did not vote for Skyrim, though. I voted for Team Fortress 2.
I voted for Team Fortress 2 as well. I could kind of see where they were going with Civilization. Not that it's an older game, but your civilization lasts the test of time.
Nice. I like that.
And Terraria, I could kind of see, but at the same time, it's too old or too new of a game. I still think this should have been a lot older games.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is that you forget about games really quickly because there's just so much coming out. So
yeah, a game has to be really memorable to stick with you for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, this next category is the one that I disagree with the most.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this was the one that prompted me to have this discussion.
Yeah, the fact that one of these has literally just 5 more minutes in it, or just one more turn.
Just 5 more minutes, or, the concept of, well, just one, just this little bit more. That's a thing that Civilization uses to, that's their tagline, just one more turn. And so the winner for just 5 more minutes is CSGO.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
The other nominees were Civ 6, Fallout 4, Terraria, and Rocket League.
I could see Rocket League because the matches are about 5 minutes long. And so, you going in for one more. Terraria is kind of a gray area for me, just because it really depends on what you're doing. If you're in the middle of a project, I could understand, just 5 more minutes. I'll just get this last section done. Or, I'll just explore this last little area, but it's not a full thing. CSGO, I don't think any of its game modes last just 5 minutes.
No. I haven't played I've played the older version of the Counter-Strike. I haven't played CSGO. But, none of them are 5 minutes or less.
I got the older Counter-Strike, so I never bothered with CSGO.
5 minutes is maybe half a match. If you've got, one team just raping the other one. But none of their games are 5 minutes or less that I've ever played or seen. So I mean, what are you going to do in 5 minutes? Open some stuff to try and go, sell to a lottery?
There you go. 5 more minutes. I just need to buy some more keys.
All right. I'll allow it because we're bashing it. Fallout 4. I'm not actually.
Fallout 4, I could maybe see, depending on, once again, it's the like Terraria. Depends on what you're doing. If you're building your settlement or exploring a little area, I could see, we'll just need a few more minutes to do something, and then it goes off into something else and something else and something else, and that's really what this award about is. Not just 5 more minutes. It's the fact that all those little things build up, and I think CS:GO doesn't do that for me because you'll be very aware of how long these matches take and how many you've done. Civilization, each turn is under a minute. Until you get into the very late game, and then when you have to start planning stuff a lot further. Rocket League, the matches are very quick. Terraria, I could understand the same idea. Fallout 4, I could understand. CS:GO is the oddball in this.
CS:GO is the game least worthy of this award on the nominations.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's also the most popular of the games in this list.
Yeah. I mean, Civilization 6 is... that's got to be it. Like, in the real world, Civilization 6 wins, not in a weird popularity contest. Or any of the Civilization games, really. So, I was really frustrated by that. Civilization didn't win just a little bit more. Just one more.
Why did they just call this the Civilization Award?
They should, and then put all of the different Civ games up for it and see which one won. That would be an okay popularity contest.
That would have been hilarious. Just watching r/Civilization debate, which one should win.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get mad or anything, and I was just like, this is dumb. These awards are stupid.
Okay, so next one is, whoa, dude.
Yeah. So
this one, I really don't get the criteria of it. I was thinking more of a strange game than... here's the description of it. Some games melt your face. Some make it... maybe it's a crazy plot twist. Maybe you got your wisdom teeth removed. Either way, this game blows your mind.
Yeah.
And the winner of this was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, and the nominees were The Witcher 3, Bioshock Infinite, Doom, and... Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I voted for Doom, but I could see a good case made for Bioshock.
I think I lean towards Bioshock. But my problem with Bioshock Infinite, well, actually I have a few problems with Bioshock Infinite, is that they could have done so much more with that mechanic and that story element, and they didn't.
Yeah.
It felt... after I sat down and thought about it, maybe that's my problem, is that I sat down and I thought about it.
Yeah.
Is that they never really did much of it mechanic-wise, and story-wise, it was more of just going to something else instead of exploring the possibilities. Granted, they did do some more of that with the DLC, but... It felt like a letdown to me, and the fact that that's the last Bioshock game.
Yeah.
Because they did confirm that that's going to be the final Bioshock, right?
They did, but they might just turn around and undo that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I mean, Metal Gear Solid, the Phantom Pain was supposedly the least, mindfucky of the Metal Gear games.
But also...
as a wrap-up, it tied up a lot of stuff.
And also, supposedly there was a lot of content cut out of it because of the whole thing with Kojima and Konami. So,
hashtag fuck Konami.
So that probably screwed with how much they could have done with the story. Witcher 3, I don't have enough experience with, and Doom, I don't have enough experience with, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Here's the thing: is that there's never, I should say in the previous Grand Theft Auto, so maybe it changes here, but there's never been that whole whoa, dude, huge plot twist moment to me.
To me, there's never been anything in Grand Theft Auto that really like blows your mind, unless it's like the first time you play it. Like the first time you play Grand Theft Auto, you're like, "Whoa, this is cool! I can go do all this stuff. And I can kill people." But it's like after that, it's just like whatever.
Yeah, I'm thinking back on my history with Grand Theft Auto. I played a bit of Grand Theft Auto 3. I didn't beat the game. I got probably about a quarter of the way through. Then I played, and there was nothing really mind-blowing about it outside of the fact that it was a 3D GTA, which at the time was mind-blowing of itself. Vice City, I would say more the soundtrack than anything else. San Andreas, I would say probably the map itself, because there was just so much land. But when you really sit down and think about it later on, it's a lot of empty space.
Right.
GTA 4. Hey, cousin, why don't we go bowling?
It is your cousin.
There's elements that were kind of mind-blowing at the time. Maybe the whole thing about the GTA Online is what's going on here, but that's also not really new because GTA 4 did that.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here trying to think of what's going on with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. There might be reasons that I don't understand, because there's nothing wrong with GTA. I'm just not the biggest GTA fan. I buy them like 5 or 6 years after the fact and then play them.
About the same here. I'm probably due. Well, I'm due on GTA 5, but the thing is that they won't drop the fucking price because they sell short cards like crazy, so they're not going to drop the price.
Yeah.
So GTA 5 may be a game that I never played because I have no interest in playing GTA Online. They're not dropping the price. And the fact that there's so many horror stories about the support from Rockstar and them just banning people for single-player mods makes me leery of even supporting them.
Yeah.
Granted, of course, that's all hearsay on the mod this front, but it's... Yeah, well, let's move on. Game within a game. Oh, look, it's GTA 5 again.
I kind of get that. I disagree that it should have won.
This one I understand more. Well, here's the other nominees. Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, which...
Gwent.
Gwent is obviously there. Gary's Mod. That is a game about building other things.
Yeah.
The Stanley Parable is the oddball on this.
I think I could make a case for it. Like, the point of the Stanley Parable is to explore and, kind of the game.
Yeah.
So the game exists, but the game within the game is like, okay, do I listen to the announcer? Do I ignore him? Do I go do this or that? What can I find?
Yeah, but all of the other entries in this are either mini games or the game is built around making other games. The other nominee is Tabletop Simulator, which is, for me, the obvious pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. For me, that's the obvious pick. It's what I voted for.
For me, it was tossed between Tabletop Simulator and Gary's Mod. And Gary's Mod, a lot of it has turned into RPG stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of killed that option for me. So Tabletop Simulator. Even though I do understand GTA 5 and definitely The Witcher, just because they made an entire new game based on a mini game from The Witcher.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the next category is going to be a lot of possible spoilers, and I don't want story spoilers on this.
Right.
But I'm not crying. There's something in my eye. The winner is The Walking Dead, the first season, with other nominees being Life is Strange, which is on the Game Club, possibly.
Yeah.
This War of Mine, which I have on my to playlist. Undertale. And To the Moon, which we understand To the Moon very well.
Yeah.
I would say I played The Walking Dead and I played To the Moon. I would give it to the Moon. But the thing is that To the Moon is not the mainstream title here.
Right. Well, I've seen Life is Strange stuff, And I know that there's sad parts in that can make you cry.
Yeah,
this war of mine is just depressing. If you want to give yourself depression, play this war of mine.
Is Depression the game.
Which, I mean, it can make you cry, but I don't think it's exactly what they're asking for with this category.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, this war of mine is just sad. The Walking Dead, I can totally see it. I can totally understand. I cried at The Walking Dead. At that one part that I won't spoil, but if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. That one part.
Well, there's actually a couple of those one parts, but yeah. I could definitely see that.
That's true. And then Undertale, I've played it some. I've seen a lot of it. I mean, the game has been hugely spoiled for me. There's some sad stuff in it, but nothing that makes me go, oh yeah, I'd cry. But perhaps, I need to experience the full thing to really get it. And then To the Moon. Yeah, I cried at To the Moon like 3 times every playthrough. So,
yeah,
I did vote for
misty-eyed. I don't think I could say I outright cried with To the Moon, but I've only experienced 2 out of the 5 games, and for me, To the Moon is by far that gut punch moment about 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
Once you realize his motivation.
Yep.
That is that to me that trumps everything in The Walking Dead.
Yeah, that is one of the moments that made me cry in To the Moon. I think in all 5 episodes of the original Walking Dead, I cried twice. And I mean, that was like 12 hours. I cried... Well, I can't say without spoiling anything. Should I say spoilers for 30 seconds?
Sure. I don't care about The Walking Dead. I care about a couple of the others, though. Walking Dead, go for it. Okay, so spoilers for the next 30 seconds. I cried at the end of The Walking Dead when you have to make the choice over whether or not to have her kill you or leave you. And then I cried when... What was the kid's name? Ducky. I cried when he died. And also, finding the kid in the attic. The zombie kid. Yeah, that was sad, but it didn't make me cry. Well, I would say that would be, finding him and realizing exactly what happened. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I feel sad. Let's go to another category. Best use of a farm animal. Well, this will excite you. And this is the category that I had a bit of a pissed off moment with. Okay. The winner is, of course, Goat Simulator. I mean, this category should have just been Goat Simulator, the category. I disagree with that with Stardew Valley here. I mean, I voted for Stardew Valley. Yeah, I think Stardew Valley is the better choice, but I mean... Goat Simulator was going to beat it hands down, even though it's nice to see Stardew Valley get recognition. And then Farming Simulator 17. But then the other two. Ark? What the fuck is Ark doing here? Ark doesn't even have farm animals in it. No. Here's the part that pissed me off. Okay. They were trying to bribe people to vote for Ark to win this category, saying, if we win, we'll put sheep in the game. Wow. You didn't see this going around? No, I didn't see it. Because I don't give a shit about Ark. Well, this was going around, and part of me was, they're putting sheep in the game, trying to get people to vote for it. I see what you're doing here. Right. But at the same time, really? Yeah. And Ark pisses me off to begin with. The whole thing where, expansion and early access annoys the hell out of me. The fact that the game is so horribly, horribly unoptimized, and they're promoting the ever-living hell out of it. I mean, was it E3 that they had a rideable dinosaur? They had a dinosaur there. I didn't know it was rideable. There was a dinosaur, I think it was at E3, that had a saddle on it that was a photo op that was a ad for Ark. I think it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Or a Brontosaurus or something. And blooded bacon. What the hell is this doing here? This is one of those stupid Greenlight games. I mean, it looks like a dumbass Greenlight game. Yeah, which I can't say that all Greenlight games are bad, but at the same time, there's a certain quality that you expect from a bad Greenlight game, and this definitely looks like it. Yeah. Which I don't see the Greenlight tag on this.
I mean, it might not be, but it looks like it reminds me of a really shitty Greenlight game.
No, it looks like it is through Greenlight.
I mean, I had never heard of this game before it being on this award.
And it just looks terrible.
Yeah. Okay, next category is Boom Boom. They had a lot of good choices on this one, actually.
This one, I like the choices on here.
The winner was Doom, which makes sense. The nominees were Just Cause 3, which makes sense. Broforce, which makes sense. Kerbal Space Program.
Obviously makes sense.
And then Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Which I like that got included.
Yeah. I mean, I voted for KS.
The entire point of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is to avoid the explosions.
Yeah. I voted for Kerbal Space Program.
Same
I was like,
here.
It deserves it.
Even though you're not supposed to have the explosions.
Everybody has the explosions. A lot. So,
I mean, if you haven't blown up the launch pad, you're not playing Kerbal Space Program, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much to say. Like I said, I agree with every one of these games being in this category. All excellent picks.
Yeah, I could... Just Cause 3, I think, is... if it wasn't for Kerbal, it would have been my pick. Even though I haven't played it.
Yeah.
I would say Doom is probably the weakest one out of this, just because... I guess it does have explosions, it does have rocket launchers, but just the craziness of Just Cause 3, the craziness that Kerbal is, the weirdness of Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, and I don't know Broforce all that well, so that I can't really attest to it, but it does have a lot of explosions on its screenshots.
There's a lot of explosions in Broforce.
So yeah, I would say Doom is probably the weakest on this one, but it's also it still fits.
Yeah. Okay, the next category, love-hate relationship. The winner was Dark Souls 3, which I think a Dark Souls game has to be the winner for this category. The nominees were Dota 2, Super Meat Boy, Darkest Dungeon, and Geometry Dash. I'm not familiar with Geometry Dash, but the other three also make sense as nominees.
Yeah, I voted for Super Meat Boy just because it's the one I have the most experience with. Darkest Dungeon, I could definitely see being here just because in the late game, it's very easy to get in a state where you lose someone that's linchpin of your group, and you're sitting there regrinding and leveling up someone new.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that being an experience that pisses you off. Dota, just it being a MOBA game and how fucking toxic those could be.
Yeah.
I don't know Geometry Dash all that well, but it looks like a runner game to me. So that could definitely be fun.
Well, for me, that would just be hate, but
Super Meat Boy, a very tough platformer with really good controls, and of course, Dark Souls.
Yep. Okay, next category, sit back and relax. The winner was Euro Truck Simulator 2. Which surprises me. It's a game.
This is what I voted for. Euro Truck Simulator 2, even though you do have to pay attention, and probably the biggest thing in it is some of the speed traps in some areas, but it's also, once you learn where the speed traps are, you can avoid them or, know to slow down pretty easily.
Yeah.
I could definitely see this here. And it's one of those games that I used to just chillax if I'm having trouble sleeping and just be able to sleep that after a delivery or two. So I definitely support it being here.
Well, I mean, I support it being there, and I agree with you. I'm just surprised to see it,
Win,
yeah.
Well, there's a couple here that I don't think should even be in the category.
Abzu is very relaxing.
Yeah, definitely should be there. This other one, this free Viridi, a free game called Viridi, definitely... Yeah, it's essentially a bonsai simulator, isn't it?
Yeah, you grow plants, and it's got kind of little music and stuff.
Yeah, I definitely see that being there. The other two, I don't see being here. City Skylines, a relaxing game?
I could see City Skylines being relaxing in the right circumstances.
Maybe once you got to a certain point, or you're not trying to troubleshoot something, but City Skylines can be very stressful in trying to fix some of the traffic issues in a city.
See, I think I see City Skylines in kind of the same light that I do like Train and Transport Fever. Like, no, they're not relaxing while you're getting the learning curve going, but once you've got it figured out, those games are very relaxing for me. And I've played it so much I can start a new game and just relax with a new game. So I think I get it, but the learning curve kind of exempts it in my mind. And then Mini Metro, I've played Mini Metro. Mini Metro is not relaxing in the least bit.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm looking at this. I haven't played it, and it doesn't look relaxing.
I mean, it's a fun game. I like it, but, it's not relaxing.
And finally, we have Better with Friends. The winner for this category was Left 4 Dead 2. The nominees were Don't Starve Together, Gang Beasts, Magica, and Golf with Your Friends. All of which I think are fairly decent picks. I gave my vote to Magica on this just because the game is very, very, very difficult without anyone, but it's a hell of a lot of fun with friends.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Left 4 Dead is about the same category.
Yeah, I mean, Left 4 Dead 2 is definitely better with friends. I mean, most games are actually better with friends, so
yeah,
it's a little bit hard to...
Yeah, it's a bit more rare to have a game that's worse with friends. I would say something that it's very loot-centric, that doesn't increase your loot enough whenever you have enough more people, or... Okay, I'm going to probably cause a controversy here. Past the first friend, I would say Borderlands is worse with friends just because of the health scaling.
Yeah. I mean, it's not so bad as long as everybody's the same level and you can work together. But yeah, Borderlands gets rougher after the first friend.
Because I tried playing with a couple friends and noticed just how spongy things were getting.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is a really hard category to define, because most games are better with friends.
Yeah, Don't Starve Together, that one's a bit up in the air for me. It really depends on your friends more than anything else. Gang Beasts, I don't know all that well. It's also an early access title.
Yeah.
And Golf with Your Friends, I don't know all that well as well. But it's mini golf, so yeah, that's going to have... its own entertainment value to begin with.
My friend David, who listens to the show, recorded or has some footage in the trailer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I believe this is the game where it was. I'd have to go look for it, but you can see their usernames or their Steam IDs at one point. I believe it was Golf with Your Friends. David, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not going to go look for it. I'm going to speed us along. So yeah, those are the Steam Awards. I mean, we've vehemently disagreed with a couple of the nominees and then scratched our heads at a couple, but about half of them check out, I'd say. Yeah,
which is honestly a bit better than most popularity contests.
Yeah, usually you get one or two that's like, okay, that makes sense, and then all the rest of them are like, what the fuck? But
what the fuck, dude?
This is about 50-50, but the stuff that's bad is really bad.
Yeah, and the things that don't make sense really don't make sense.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Blood and Bacon had some sort of campaign behind it to push people to play. Matter of fact, hang on, I need to look up something.
Probably key giveaways or something.
What is the number of players for Blood and Bacon?
120 playing right now. 173.
How the hell did this get on here?
402 all-time peak.
Yeah, how the hell did this get on here? That's why I want to know. What did the developer go give Gaben a hand job or something?
Who knows? Yeah, I'm looking,
because this is just weird. I was expecting it, around the 1,000 mark.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if there's like a noticeable gain of...
Unless everybody voted for either Stardew Valley, or I should say nominated Stardew Valley, Goat Simulator, and the newest farming sim, and the other two nominees, had like 5 votes each. Which is very possible because I voted for Stardew Valley, or I should say dominated it.
Blood and Bacon has been at a steady 200 players, 100 to 200 players for months. And there's no real spikes. Actually, that's not true. There's a big spike right before the awards. Early December. November, December. But that doesn't necessarily
the nomination process was late November.
Yeah, so that doesn't... Actually, that might mean vote buying, through keys or some kind of campaign or something. I don't know.
Possibly, but I think the most likely culprit here is just the fact that everybody voted for the obvious thing, so the other two... Well, Ark probably is just popularity. Or maybe there's some sort of farming thing in it. I don't know and really don't care. What really annoyed me was them trying to buy votes. Which I realize, it's meaningless in the long term, but at the same time, it's also free publicity for a game that, honestly, there had to be better things out there.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking through their recent stuff just to see if there was anything that they posted on their page, but it doesn't look like it, so if there was a campaign, it was ran somewhere else. But regardless, I don't really care all that much, actually. I don't know why I'm still investigating this. I don't give a shit. Having to do work, I don't want that. All right.
Who are you and what did you do with Jared?
I told you I'm feeling better. All right, so that was...
Well, that was the Steam I disagree. I think you're kind of sick now.
Well, that's debatable. Depends on what kind of sick you're referring to.
You wanting to do work?
Yeah. Sometimes I want to do work. Sometimes I'm in the mood for it. Usually that's house projects, though. I'm I'll let stuff build up and then be okay, I'm going to do 10 house projects today that are all really small.
I'm going to go build that shed that I've been putting off for the last 2 years.
Nah, fuck that. That's too much work. I would never sign on to build a shed.
No, you build a shed and you make it your recording studio.
It would be cold. It wouldn't have power. It wouldn't have internet.
No. Extension cord, Wi-Fi, and an AMD rig.
Oh.
But then you have to worry about the entire thing just bursting into flames during the summertime because AMD rig.
Yeah, we talked about building a little shed or something, another little building for us to use, but it's it'll be too much work and it'll be too difficult for us to use. So.
Oh, with that attitude.
You've got me in trouble because I say that a lot now. I pick that up from you, and I'll say that to Katie, and she'll be please shut up. Please don't say that again.
I guess I'm no longer her favorite now because I've taught you a bad phrase.
I told her, I got it from Rage, trying to throw you under the bus, and she was I don't care who you got it from. Stop.
I love that I got you in trouble for something that I didn't even try.
Yep. Okay, let's move on from our Steam Award winners to our weekly community corner, where this week we have one rather long audio letter from Ghost Shark, and then tweets and stuff. But first, here's Ghost Shark.
Greetings, everybody. This is Ghost Shark here, and I am coming to you live, recorded live from the garage of a hospital, parking garage of a hospital. I'll get to that in a minute. Just wanted to talk about a couple things that you mentioned last week. Sorry, I'm driving through here while I talk, so I'm trying to multitask, and it's not working so well. First off, when you guys are talking about The Division, many of you who have talked to me know my stance on the game. I absolutely love it, and I know I'm kind of sort of a minority on that. But whatever. If anybody... That's a do not enter. Okay, never mind. If anybody ends up wanting to play with me on that sometime, I'm more than willing to jump in, sort of. Again, we'll get to that in a minute. One thing you had mentioned, or I think it was Rage, was talking about the cleaners and being firefighters. Not exactly true. They are actually former sanitation workers. And this is a little bit of spoilers about the game here. But they are probably my most likable faction out of all of the bad guys you have to come across. So, first and foremost, you've got the... Alright, pardon. First and foremost, you got the looters, which are just, opportunists wanting to try and grab whatever they could. And you got the cleaners, who were the sanitation people. I actually kind of feel for them a little bit, because they have good intentions for what they're trying to do, just very, very bad execution. They're trying to clean the infection out of the city by basically just burning and toasting anything that could possibly be infected, so that the bug dies in New York. So they're willing to clean anyone and everyone to make that happen. So then you've got the Rikers, which they're criminals who came out of Rikers Island after the chaos erupted, and not much good to be said about them. They're all about just absolutely getting rid of anyone who has any sort of shred of authority, and they are pure anarchists and want to just, sow chaos and destruction and have fun doing it. The Last Man Battalion guys, I don't have a real big opinion on them, because I haven't actually run across them yet. I'm starting to, but I haven't really messed with them too much. But yeah, they're all like ex-military who are, kind of carving their own territory into crazy madness. I guess sort of the last faction that I would talk about would be the agents, or more specifically the rogue agents, which, again, that's something I haven't really messed around with too much. That's more of kind of a late game type thing that I have seen, and a lot of it comes into play in the Dark Zone, which I've played around in a little bit and decided to force myself to stay out of it and level up so I can actually be good at running the Dark Zone, because it's a whole new game in there. So I don't know, I've been playing it a lot. Well, I've kind of dropped off a little bit doing some other stuff, some Kerbals and other odds and end games, and I do need to go back to it and at least level my main character to full. I have another character kind of much lower level that I can probably use to pal around with people who get into the game later. I'm not against making a whole new character as well, so we'll see. But yeah, overall impression from it, I know it's not a game for everybody. I'm having fun. The story's great. The gameplay does have its quirks, and it's definitely a bullet sponge game once in a while. But I can overlook it. I'm pretty easygoing, I guess. I don't know. It does build you up to feel like an absolute badass at the beginning of the game. You're one of the elite few that gets called in to fix everything, and by the time you're done with the main story, it's kind of like, ooh, I kind of feel like a cog in a really crappy machine. So anyways, that's that. The other game you were talking about was Galaxy of Heroes. I have been playing that for the entire year of 2016. I think I pretty much started right when the game came out, or relatively soon after. So I've got some ranks in there. It's gotten down to a science for me, pretty much, where with about an hour's worth of work a day, I can have all of my daily quests done, get all of the the daily things completed, and have all of the loot. Just simming as much stuff as possible. I don't really get into too much of the newer missions. I'm probably about halfway through the trees on each of the battles, the battle sections. So I just want to try and progress some of my characters up higher and higher to be able to start handling the better stuff, the tougher stuff. But it's definitely just kind of one of those mindless time wasting games, that also kind of meshes with my collection type stuff. Collection finding, build your squad type stuff. So I have fun with it. I have a lot of time in the game and a lot of characters. Jared, you don't feel too bad if you haven't gotten to the ships yet, because honestly, they're not. It's just my personal opinion. It's not all they're cracked up to be. There's something about it, and I can't quite explain it. I think it's basically got something to do with, for me at least, the camera angles. At least with the ground, the main game, everything's pretty much stationary. You have the one camera view, and that's all you see. The camera shakes with a really good hit, or things like that. But that's pretty much all that happens. The ship combat just seems so disjointed because they'll change angles. They'll have the little mini cutscene type things whenever one of the capital ships does an ability, where they'll do some crazy panning and, changing the angles and stuff. And it's different and kind of disjointing for me because, you're used to seeing just the one view the whole way through. So, that being said, it is a great way to get more ships and guys and stuff. So, between joining a guild and getting the random collection, guild coin buy through that, that marketplace, and the ship section has its own little marketplace too with rare ships and people, and the ship marketplace populates or changes every day. It's not the same characters the whole time. So I've gotten quite a bit of diverse group of people instead of my original top 5. So a suggestion would be to try and let's see. I'm trying to remember which mission it is. It's the light side battles, the hard section, the first mission on the second chain. The shard character the shards that you pick up are for Ray. If you do anything else a day, just sim out that 3 battles, sim 3 battles of that a day. Because, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that I got her set up really quick, but she is an absolute beast of a striker character. I have had her one-shot so many high-level boss characters in a game before, so yeah, anyway, that's my little hidden tip is, go for Ray. She's awesome. It takes a while to build her up, but like I said, I've been playing for a year, and I've almost got her to level to 7 stars, and she's just a beast. Even when I first got her at 4 or 5 stars, I can't remember what she starts out at. She's definitely a tough cookie. So, but yeah, that's about it for Galaxy of Heroes. I'm just been, thanks to the new marketplaces I unlocked, I've been working on building up all my clones. I now have all of the clone troopers, so I'm going to play around with a 5 clone trooper build on the Guild Wars or stuff like that, or the combat, the PvP combat stuff. So anyway, that's all I'll say on that one. I will mention my gamer tag on there if anybody wants to friend me. The number is 328-475-446. So, not much that I can do except let you borrow a pretty sweet Captain Phasma, I think is what my rental hero is. So, I guess that's about it for now. The mention, the later mentions that I had earlier. Okay. I am in the parking lot of a hospital because my ex-wife, again, complicated issue, she got induced over the weekend, and we now have a cute little baby boy, Jackson Carter. So he was born yesterday, which would be Monday. So I now have a little mini nerdlet to raise and corrupt with all kinds of nerdy and geekiness. So I am going to go ahead and cut this off now and go upstairs and start talking all kinds of calculus and physics calculations to him. Hopefully by the time he's 3, he'll know orbital mechanics. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys later, and I'll listen to the episode, and I'll have some for you next week, hopefully, if I'm not too busy raising a kid. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
So that was Ghost Shark, and I'm not going to forget this time. Ghost Shark has a baby.
Yeah, congratulations.
I'm so sorry. It'll be fun in a year or 2. Newborns aren't that bad. I know, Ghost Shark, you've had kids before, but I don't know if you've ever dealt with a baby, because they were your wife, ex-wife, it's complicated, it's kids. Babies aren't that bad, though, at the beginning. They just mostly sit around, and you got to change them when they poop and feed them and make them feel better when they cry.
Stock up on vodka.
Then they hit like a really horrible point, at least from my own personal belief and feelings about kids, from like the 3-month mark to the year mark, where they're just awful. And then they start walking and interacting a lot more with people. I mean, they probably can't talk yet. Occasionally you get like a bright bloomer who talks before a year. But, you know, from a year to 2 years is really fun. And then by 2 years, they're usually talking decently. And then that's when the real fun starts, because you can teach them words and they'll do weird stuff. And they start wanting to actually interact with you, and you can play video games with them or toys. So you got like 2 years of shit, and then it gets pretty good.
So it's like playing an MMO. Got it.
Kind of, yeah. So hopefully your kid sleeps. Sleeping through the night is very important. Not all kids do it, but it's not as hard to get a kid to sleep through the night as most people make it out to be.
Yeah, vodka.
We have on occasion given our son alcohol to bring on the sleepy dreams, but I would not recommend that often.
Some for the kid, a lot for you.
Yeah, because that's bad. That's hard on their liver. You gotta be careful with it, but a little bit. Okay.
The liver needs some work to get going.
If you want parenting tips, Ghost Shark, just come talk to me. So far I haven't killed my kid, so I must have done something right.
Obviously, you're not trying.
No, I'm not trying hard enough. Tonight, okay, one kid story. So I've been teaching him how to catch things, because, you know, hand-eye coordination and all that. And he's actually getting pretty good at catching stuff. So I got in tonight and I had went grocery shopping.
So you're going to progress to fetch?
Yeah, fetch will be coming soon. So I brought in the groceries, and there was some baby wipes that needed to go to his room. And I was like, hey, King, buddy, can you take these to Mommy? Because she was in his room. And I threw them at him, and he caught them. But it was like, just like in a movie, he caught them right at his chest. And I didn't think about how heavy they were compared to how light he is. And it just knocked him back on his ass. Like, perfect movie-style fashion. And, I mean, it upset him, so he started crying. And I was like, well, crap.
Well,
really
now
sorry.
I'm in trouble.
But, I mean, I got him calmed down. He was okay. Like, it didn't hurt him or anything. It mostly just scared him. I was like, I probably should remember that you're really small.
Yeah, that's typically what happens.
Because, it was like a big multi-pack of wipes. It weighed like, I don't know, 7-8 pounds. And he only weighs like 30 pounds. He's really thin, which is he definitely did not get that from me. But, anyways, you know.
Maybe he's your inner thin person. He escaped.
Maybe.
Isn't that what they always talk about with the fat guys? Well, there's the thin person inside you. Well, obviously King escaped.
And he definitely escaped from Katie. He was the thin person inside of her. I'm surprised I didn't get more of a reaction for that. Hopefully someone on the other end is laughing or covering their mouth in shock or something.
I'm just shaking my head there.
That works. I'll take it. So yeah, that's my kid story for this week, this month, whatever. So let's talk about the rest of the stuff in his audio letter, which mostly was Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
And also the factions in the Division, which honestly I didn't play enough of the cleaner stuff to learn that they were sanitation workers, or they talked more about being firemen. at the beginning, or or the fact that they are literally firemen. They deal with a lot of flames.
But
I'm still upset that I kind of experienced more of the story of the Division, but at the same time, Ubisoft AAA games, I should say, they're independent line. I have no problems with.
Yeah. One day, Ghost Shark, I will get the Division and we will play, but I don't know when that day is, so.
Yeah, maybe when I get a new computer, I'll try the Division again.
I
did like the Division. My problem with it is that I could see that it's going to be the same problem I had with the Crew. Once I get max level, I lose all motivation to continue on because I've already done everything, and it's getting to grinding.
Yeah, I should try the Crew again to see if it runs better on this PC or this CPU, because my issue was CPU bottleneck with it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Well, also your problem with the Crew was that you're blind drunk when you played it last.
Maybe a little bit. Also, another problem I had is it's not realistic enough. It's way too arcadey for me. But, I mean, I could get past that if it actually worked.
Well, there was... it's not the fact that it was arcadey. My problem with it, I actually prefer more leaning towards arcadey. I like my preferred is somewhere in the middle. But the physics would just wonk out at times. I had one cutscene. I wish I recorded it. Because all the cutscenes in the game are the cars running along a track, and they're not pre-rendered. So that way they can have your custom car in all the cutscenes. But there was some quirk of the physics with this one cutscene. So it would go through, and the car would just randomly flip and start tumbling end over end in the cutscene.
Nice.
And then, of course, I start the race with my car just completely fucked up. But and the thing is, I would replay the cutscene and would do it again and again and again until I completely quit the game. And it didn't want to play nice with DX Tori starting it up in the middle of the game. So unfortunately, I didn't get a recording of that, and this was before the real-life drivers came out.
Yeah.
But trust me, I'm not the only person that had that problem with the Crew.
So Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I think I've tried to start that 3 times now.
Excuse me.
That's fine. I just think it's funny.
Still haven't gotten back to that yet.
Nope. Anyways, so you were saying Galaxy of Heroes, you still haven't gotten back to it?
Yeah, I haven't gotten back to it. I was actually expecting to spend a lot more time with mobile gaming just today because I was heading back to the doctor, and the doctor actually saw me within 5 minutes.
Nice. That doesn't happen very often.
Well, I went to the exam room in under 5 minutes. Then I spent longer in the exam room waiting for him, and and there, don't want to pull out the phone.
Yeah, I pull out my phone even when I go into the room, so I just put it away when they come in. But I got to level 52. I'm almost to level 53. I'll probably log in and do a few things before I go to bed after we're done here. But I've done Ghost, like the little battles, the training battles or whatever it is for the spaceships, and I can see where you're coming from, but to me, the ships of Star Wars have always been cooler than the people and anything else in it. So I just want to get all of those. And
honestly, it sounds like the ship combat is the same reason why I don't like watching a lot of gaming videos on YouTube. There's just so many jump cuts and strange camera motions.
Yeah, it does have some weird camera motions, but I mean, it doesn't really bother me all that much. Maybe it will once I actually start playing it more. But just in the little teases that I've got of it, I'm like, oh, I want this so bad. But I mean, at the current rate that I'm leveling up, if I can keep that rate up, which I don't think I will, because as the clinic builds back up in pace, I won't be able to just sit for a while and play it at the clinic, which is what I've done this past week. But I mean, I'm playing it a lot, like a couple of hours a day. Because I mean, I refuse to spend a ton of money on it. I've spent a little, I may spend a little more, but I'm not going to spend like $100 on this game for the hope of getting the right character. So I'm just grinding and grinding and grinding. And thankfully the game is enjoyable. Otherwise I wouldn't do that. I'd tell it to fuck off. But Yeah. I've almost got a full team of Jedi. I've got 4. I've got the Jedi Consular that it gives you at the very beginning. I got Mace Windu. I've got Ahsoka Tano. And I can't remember the other Jedi that I've got.
Wait, are you allowed to say Mace Windu without using the word motherfucker?
He doesn't say motherfucker in Star Wars, so maybe?
Oh, sure, trust me. If you looked at him, you know he's thinking it the entire time.
Probably.
One of my favorite riff tracks is the third Star Wars. And every time Mace Windu comes up, they just go, motherfucker. Because he looks like looks like he's pissed off the entire time.
But I can't remember who my 4th Jedi is, but it's okay. I'm working on a team of Jedi. I want to get the team of clones, but I've only got the clone sergeant right now.
Just get the photocopier.
Touche. But
I mean, you shouldn't be able to tell them apart anyway.
They know how to tell each other apart in Star Wars Clone Wars. But yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I'm gonna keep playing it. A whole year though for level 76. You must not be playing it as much as I have. Either that or the experience really ramps up. Because you can still get a level in every couple of days at my level without having to pay any money. You earn enough of their like gems or whatever. I basically just buy energy with the gems that I earn instead of buying packs, because honestly you can more reliably grind out characters than you can get lucky just buying like 1 pack at a time. So I just use all of my premium currency that I earn to buy energy. But I mean, I don't have a ton more to say about it. It's exactly the same. If I ever like get a full character team or something, I'll share, but probably won't talk about Galaxy of Heroes too much. Although we do have another Star Wars thing that we're working on. Ghost and I are currently working to set up a tabletop campaign in such a way that we can rotate characters out and rotate out whoever is GMing. In a way that makes sense and that people don't get left out. We are going to switch, I'm pretty sure, to what's it called? The Rebel... Whatever. We were doing Edge of the Empire and we're doing a different one now. Rebel something. He said it.
So I guess we're going to be bringing out Decoy then?
We can bring Decoy into it. But we're figuring it out. I'm not going to spoil anything yet, but we've just started figuring it out.
Of course, now we're going to have to, since his name is Decoy, we need to think of his proper designation, DE something.
D3C0Y. Decoy. But we've just got like the very basics down right now, like of this idea, but we're actively working on it. Hopefully in a couple of 3 weeks, we can start it up. And we might be able to invite lots of people in. I've got to learn the specifics of the Rebellion tabletop, and it's not much different from Edge of the Empire, but there's a few different things. But we might be able to set it up in such a way where that if you're a VGL podcast listener and you want to join in, you could show up on the night in our Discord server, and we can just slot you in.
Discord's probably the best way to do this.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's not like we have a channel set up for Star Wars RPG already, or not.
Do we? Did I make one? I think I did.
Well, you have to, because you never made me admin.
I'll do it. It's fine. Take care of it.
Well, we have one. I was saying that you never made me admin, so I can't do anything on here.
Right. Okay. I'll fix that later. And then when I don't fix it later, remind me so that I'll fix it. But, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that, too. Thanks, Ghost, for introducing me to the world of Star Wars RPG. Huge hit with my family or with my in-laws over their time here. We ran like a 10-hour campaign or something like that. It was fun. But I think that's everything from the audio letter.
Yeah, that's all I see there.
Okay.
And obviously his ID will be in the audio letter, so So, question of the week. When do you consider a game to be retro? And this was something you were looking forward to talking about.
I just want to know what everybody had to say.
Let's see. Kyle. When it's more than 10 years, but less than 20 years old. After that, it's vintage. Jim, 13 or plus years old or designed to look, sound, or play like it is. I disagree with the last part of that myself. I think something could be retro-inspired without being retro itself. But
yeah, I agree.
Chemist, hard to say. I think everyone considers games they grew up as retro. For me, it's the NES, SNES era. You've seen the photo.
Yeah.
And Kyle also... no, never mind. That's leftover from last week. Sorry. Didn't clear out enough, I guess.
That's fine. For me, I'd have to say that it's whenever, like, something that is old enough to be from your childhood, or at least the early portion of your life as you get older. Because, I mean, retro/nostalgia is all very personal.
Yeah.
So, for me, I would consider a PS2 and the original Xbox to be pretty retro. But if I walked into, anywhere that nerds gather, I'd probably be laughed out of the room. But that's fine.
They would consider more the NES, SNES era.
Yeah.
Maybe with the N64. And that's the thing, is that there's a real gray area with what retro is.
Yeah.
I would go almost as far as the early PS2 era now, just because of how long ago that's been. Mostly because of how long the PS3 and Xbox 360 stuck around. It kind of pushed everything back a bit further, which was a really weird generation to begin with, just because of its length.
Yeah. Perhaps a more operational way to define it would be
generational?
Yeah. Maybe 2 generations back or 3 generations back. At that point, it becomes retro. Just because technology, at this point especially, is moving so fast, so rapidly.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Mortal Kombat. Just look at the modern Mortal Kombat game compared to the first few Mortal Kombat games.
Right. And honestly, even the ones that are in between, you can see big differences between all of them up until the most recent couple of 3 years. So, it's very subjective. But I think good guidelines are like 2 generations back, maybe 3 generations back.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes, retro. And then, I agree with you. Like, something can be retro-inspired, but not be retro.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you took a retro or a vintage car and then produced an exact replica of that car, they would still say, well, yeah, this is a replica of a vintage car. It's not a vintage car. So, I agree with you on that. Okay. What else do you got?
Okay, well, Kyle sent us a question about our Game Club game for this month. Is this the enhanced edition, or will be in the discussion? And I came up with the ruling, yeah. At first, I thought it was because the enhanced edition, you couldn't really separate it all that easily, but I forgot that there was a toggle pretty easily disabling the extra content. But honestly, the extra content really is what makes the game a lot more fun.
Yeah, I would say yes also, so.
And then we got into the crate joke once again. Rage, this is from Chemist. All I need is you to do is to walk to your window and look at the blinking light on the other side of the street. And then I mentioned the crate. And what is the pizza doing on top of it?
Oh, I want pizza now.
I had pizza earlier.
Did it come from Frank's or not Frank's?
It came from the freezer.
Nice.
Because honestly, that's about the best pizza you could get around here, sadly.
It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
That's exactly what I had, actually.
Nice.
Because I would say probably the best pizza I could get. Well, I can't even get it delivered. The local Pizza Hut doesn't do delivery, but it's within walking distance.
Nice.
But yeah, then there's another pizza place that is not Frank's. That their pizza's better, but it's also wafer thin. And it's not wafer thin crunchy; it's wafer thin soggy.
Oh, that's not good. If you're gonna get thin, it needs to be crispy.
Yeah, they don't really do crispy, so yeah. Shame I can't combine some of them because I'd rather have that place's sauce with a Pizza Hut crust, or something like a Pizza Hut crust.
No.
Oh well. But yeah, getting back on topic. Chemist also says you're going to eat the pizza and forget about everything we spoke about. Leave the crate; it can wait. This was stemming from Kyle looking forward to toying around with the mind control from FTL because that's in the extended content. And Kyle says, "Wait, it can. We packed an extra empty coffee can."
Nice.
Poor Groove. And the thing is, if Groove was in a crate outside, he would probably be dead because it was like 6 degrees that day. Let's see. Kyle, looks like my cheeky monkey days are over. And for the record, I was the one that wanted to end on Star Wars with Decoy. Which may have helped him with his cheeky monkey days. And then Kyle sent us a fucking novel through Twitter.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, this is like 6 different tweets all together. I may be experiencing simulation immersion to a degree that I haven't felt since Euro Truck 2. While flying at 737-800 over Indiana, Indianapolis Center informed me of crossing traffic 1,000 feet below me at about 2 o'clock. I was in the captain's seat and tried to find the traffic. It came up with nothing and reported traffic not in sight to Indy Center. Yet the traffic was an Airbus A321 saw me. Indy Center gave me a minute, asked me again if I had traffic in sight, which I did. As the A321 passed under me to my 8 o'clock, I was able to see it. After reporting traffic in sight to the Indy Center, I was wondering how they expected me to see the traffic at my 2 o'clock when I was in the left seat. Then I realized that I was in a sim and I could switch the right seat at any time, at any point, and realized I may need a break. Decided to power through the last 2 hours of the flight anyway.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Bells. Oh, the thing is, I've set a high bar for myself because he's really like that flight simulator I sent him.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm going to have to send him something less crazy next time, I think. Because he's gone absolutely berserk.
Nice. Okay, well.
Yeah, and that was my... the novel was the last set of tweets.
Okay, then that means it's time to move on to our Steam Weekly Deals discussion, which we have not had in a while because of the sale and the awards and
I completely forgot about doing this at first because the last few weeks they hadn't been available.
Honestly, the sales were pretty crappy. There were some games that we have recommended before, and I try not to do double recommendations, or re-recommend too often.
Yeah.
And I've sort of kind of recommended a game from this before, but there was nothing, and I was like, well, this is pretty good. So
yeah, I can't remember if I've done this one or not, but it's been a while since we've done a recommendation anyway, since we didn't do suggested games during the winter sale. Well, I did, but I didn't do one on the podcast.
Yeah. I don't recognize this game, so I don't think you've ever done it before, or if you have, I don't remember. So go ahead and do yours.
Okay, my recommendation is Marlo Briggs and the Mask of Death. This is essentially a poor man's God of War on PC. Haven't beat the game just yet, but it has the exploration of God of War, and it has all the crazy spectacle fighter of God of War at a bargain price. It's not exactly a pretty looking game, but it's at least in the opening area is fun. And it is also dirt cheap, even without a sale. It's normally $4.99, and it's 75% off. Bring it down to a whopping 99 cents.
Nice.
And you could hardly even get a cheeseburger at that price anymore.
Yeah, not even McDonald's has got a cheeseburger for less than $1. I think the McDouble is like $1.25. Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, I can't say a lot about the game just because I haven't played it enough, and it's always been one of those games that's popped up on my short list that I've never really felt the urge to play, but it has some interesting things with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, my game is actually a bundle. It's the Red Faction Collection on Steam, which has all of the Red Faction games. If you don't have any of them, it's $11.99, but Steam does that. If you own this thing already, it subtracts it, so your price may vary based on how many of these games you potentially own. But, I mean, the Red Faction series as a whole is really good. I think the best one is Guerrilla, but Armageddon is certainly a good game, as well as Red Faction 2. I've never actually played the original Red Faction, so I'm tempted to pick this up, because I own Guerrilla and Armageddon, so it would probably only cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of $5 to get Red Faction 1 and 2, and then the DLC pack.
What it is for me, it's just right at 12.
Yeah, so...
But I only have Red Faction Armageddon, its DLC, and Red Faction Guerrilla Steam Edition.
Okay. So, but, I mean, Red Faction are all great games. And I know I've recommended Red Faction Armageddon before. I don't know if I've ever recommended Red Faction Guerrilla, but, I mean, it's certainly the best one in the series. And then the others are good as well.
Red Faction Guerrilla was brought into the Steam, into Steamworks. And saw some quite a bit of work done to it, actually.
Yeah. The original Red Faction is quite old. It came out in 2001. Red Faction 2 is also pretty old, 2003 release, but, I mean, it kind of came between two different hardware sets, so Red Faction 2 is much closer to modern standards, I would say, than Red Faction 1. But they're both still excellent games.
Yeah, and Red Faction Guerrilla, if you just want to go break things, it's a good game to do that.
Yeah, it was one of, it might not have been like one of the first, but it was one of the first I remember of games having fully destructible environments.
Hell, and these days you don't see many games with fully destructible environments.
Yeah, it was like you see Just Cause in space.
You could see some destructible environments, but not fully.
Yeah.
You can take a hammer and knock out all the walls and have the building fall down.
Yeah. Every building and pipe, like everything that's man-made. I don't remember how much of the terrain is destructible. I don't think it's very much. But all of the structures are completely destructible. That's my favorite way to play. Just destroy everything. So.
Well, let's put it this way. I haven't played too much of it, but what I have played, I walked up to a building, took out my sledgehammer, and slowly worked around the building until it collapsed.
Yeah. Fun process. So, I mean, that's my recommendation. Yeah, obviously, all of the games also, I think, are individually on sale right now. So, if you don't care about the whole collection and you just want to pick one of them, then, go ahead and buy that one. But the collection is definitely worth it.
Only other game that I could really think of that's even close to Red Faction Guerrilla and its destruction is actually Mercenaries Playground of Destruction. Have you ever played that?
Mercenaries what?
Mercenaries 2, I think it is.
Oh, yeah, I've played Mercenaries 2.
I mean, I had a lot of destruction in it as well. It's extremely old, and I'm pretty sure that the series is completely dead at this point.
I think it is too. I think Mercenaries 2 is the last one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Wikipedia, and they have 2 games that were canceled. And the Mercenaries 2 World in Flames, I think that's the one I played. I can't remember if it is or isn't. 2005, 2008, the 2 that were canceled. With the newest one, Pandemic Studios was shut down and a small demo was released of Mercenaries 3, so there you go.
Yeah, back when, well, I don't know how, I know GameFly still exists, but I don't know how big or popular it is. But back when it was first starting out, I got Mercenaries 2 was one of the first games I rented from them, and that was a good time. I kept that game for like 2 or 3 months. I must have paid more than the full cost of the game in my GameFly subscription to keep that game. It's kind of like Netflix with discs, though. Like if the old school, or if you still use the disc version of Netflix, it's like some movies like you would just keep for forever. A long time ago, I had the Netflix disc, and I kept telling I told myself I went through this period where I was like, I'm gonna watch all of these like classic movies or like highly rated, older movies, and I think I had Bridge Over the River Kwai for 8 months, which at $9 a month would be I paid $72 to not watch Bridge Over the River Kwai. Because I've never seen that movie. I never watched it. I just eventually sent it back. So yeah, that's that.
There are some movies out there that I would probably pay that much not to watch. Granted, I wouldn't be holding on to the disc, but still.
Yeah, I was holding it hostage. But yep, those are our recommendations. So that means it's time for us to move on to the part of the show where we talk about our stuff, and I get to go first. What's coming up for me this week? Divinity. I've got it all put up. I've got it all almost, I've got it all ready. I just have to schedule everything. I was gonna do that today, and then I didn't. So maybe I'll do it tomorrow. But it's coming. And I'm basically just gonna run from just Divinity until it's all posted and I'm all caught up, and then I can start slacking off on it again.
Yeah, then you get ahead of me. That was what kind of stopped you before, wasn't it? Was that you got ahead of me and I called you on putting out episodes 2 or 3 days before me?
Well, I said that I wouldn't do that anymore, and that I would go in sync with you, and then I just didn't do it. So
yeah.
But yep, that's it on my channel. That's it. I'm getting back into the swing of things. Going back to the clinic every day. At least now I'm not being sick anymore, though. Right now, fingers crossed. But just getting back into the swing of life. Had to do a bunch of house projects and some stuff, and had to finish Star Wars Clone Wars. I mean, that was top of the list. I gotta watch Rebels now, but I don't think there's anywhere to watch it digitally. It's not on Netflix. It's not on Hulu. It's not on Amazon Prime unless I want to buy it. So yeah, I'll probably be pirating that. Seasons 1 and 2. Season 3 just wrapped up, so I guess seasons 1, 2, and 3.
What else do you have?
Well, if you want to come to my YouTube channel to see those things, you can do so by searching for Gaming Psychologist on YouTube. I'll be there on the YouTubes. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where I tweet about all kinds of things, you can do so at JMA4707. Picked up a few new Twitter followers here lately, so thanks to people who are following me on Twitter to come listen to my randomness. I've posted a few tweets about my kid, doing weird stuff, like the box thing. So second kid story. I gave my kid...
you should have recorded you throwing the wipes to him. You could put that on YouTube.
I didn't think about it. If I'd have thought about it, I would have done it. But I just just threw him to him. Here you go, kid. If I'd had the forethought to do that, though, it would have been mean because I'd have been knocking him down on purpose. I don't want to be mean to my kid.
Yet.
Well, not too much. Anyways, though, second kid story. For some reason last night... So I gave my kid some boxes yesterday to play with because he's a kid, and all kids would prefer to play with boxes than toys. That's just a fact, Ghost Shark. Remember that.
Yeah, they go through this cat phase where they prefer boxes.
They don't care about their presents until they're 3, and before then they just want to play with the boxes and the wrapping paper. So... but anyway, so I gave him some boxes to play with because I was cleaning up, and I had some leftover cardboard boxes. And he became attached to them, and he went to bed with them last night instead of his stuffed animals. He still had his blankets, though. He needed his blanket. But, so yeah, I posted a tweet about that and some other random stuff. And I got a little political today. Just a little bit.
You? Political?
Just a little bit. There's only 2 tweets.
So what did Trump do today?
I just retweeted a couple of things because they had all the confirmation hearings today. Or were having them. And so I posted a couple of things.
It's been a day for me, so I haven't even been paying attention to Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and look to see what you were doing.
Maybe I only retweeted one thing. I don't remember. There'll be more, though. That's Trump's our
look
president.
at it this way. By end of January, you'll either have a ton of followers because of it, or you're going to have no followers because of what you're talking about.
Yep. If you want to watch me stream games, which I'm finally getting back to that unless there's another emergency in my life, but please, dear gods in heaven, or wherever you live, no more emergencies. None. I want to stream games to my peeps. Do people say peeps? Is that cool? It's probably not cool. I'm an old man. I'm a dad. I can't be cool.
Hell if I know. I was never cool.
Which does be cool, because he's cool.
But I've missed our little social nights.
I have too. But those are definitely starting back up, and you can watch them over at twitch.tv/jarthur4707. And then, if you want to be my friend on Steam, which I've picked up a couple of new Steam friends this past week too. Hi guys. You can be my friend. My Steam username is jarthur4707. I will accept your friend request, no matter who you are, and hope that you're cool. Please come talk to me. I like to talk to you guys.
And if you wish to let them know exactly what episode you're coming from, the passphrase for this week is Tracers Tush. Tracers Tush.
Tushy. Tushy.
That's been on the list for a while, by the way.
Nice. Okay. What about you? Where can they find you and your stuff?
Oh, well, first I need to talk about what I'm doing.
Nah.
Trying to hurry me along, are you? Just because we happened to pass the 3-hour mark just now. Oh, well, since I talked about it, Valiant Hearts has actually started up. Have a couple episodes already recorded, and I'm going to be recording more in the next couple of days. Looking forward to seeing where the story goes. I don't know exactly where it's going just yet, but I do know that it's probably going to be a bad place. Well, at least for some of the characters. And Alpha 16 for Rimworld should be starting, well, for where I am now in time, tomorrow. I did a recording of it already, but I had a weird mod interaction that was just screwing with things, so I had to edit my mod some more and toy around with them. It's just one of those things. But I was also still very early in the series, so, I just scrapped the night's recordings and decided to restart. And if you wish to join the colony for that, I do accept names either on Twitter, Gaming with CR, or if you catch my YouTube stuff, you could leave a comment there on the Rimworld stuff, and I'll add you to my name list. And once you're on the name list, you are still on the name list until you are asked to be taken off. So you could show up at any time. Your uncle actually is on the top of my name list for this one. So, yeah, he's going to probably die a painful death.
Probably. We probably all will.
Yeah, it's just more, how you die. Or, there has been people that have been kidnapped. And let's see, and I'm hoping the Sunday sampler will kick back off this week. It's been off for a couple weeks just because not a lot of games coming out for it, and I didn't pre-record a lot of stuff, and things have been a little crazy for me the last few weeks, just medical-wise. No, I'm not dying. It's just I've had to alter my sleep schedule, and things are been going on there. So it's just been a bit more difficult than usual. Plus, also had Mario and Luigi show up today, and they were fucking incompetent. No wonder they are no longer plumbers, and they just save the princess all the time.
Plumbing's hard work.
Oh, and of course, the very original Sin is also on my channel. We have the recordings for this week, and hopefully Saturday we'll try to get ahead.
We will give it a shot.
Yeah, the problem with that game is that we look down, it's an hour has passed. Maybe that should have been the 5 more minutes.
Maybe.
That's all the content on my channel. You can find it over at Gaming with Caffeine Rage, or you can find me on Twitter, Gaming with CR, like I mentioned before. I am tweeting a bit more. Granted, I'm not getting political like Jared, which means I'm not nearly as interesting or inflammatory, which is a little strange considering my name, but But Gaming with CR, I don't have a stream, but I do appear on Jared's streams, usually. And I think that wraps up that. So let's move on to our closing stuff, which means, hey, we're not talking about the Internet Archive now. We have our new server up and running.
Correct, Amanda.
We're at vglpodcast.podbean.com. But of course, if you're listening to this, you probably already know that, or iTunes is updated. Oh, yeah, it's been a process to get this up and running, but hey, the download speeds I think are well worth it, right?
Indeed.
If you wish to contact us, you could do so by sending us an email at vglpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, voicemails, or gaming-related topics, or just tweet us at vglpodcast on Twitter. And no, you don't have to send audio content. You can send text, and we will stumble through it and mispronounce your name. Or at least I will. We have a Patreon page that helps support our Podbean. Well, now it supports our Podbean. We did toss a little bit of dosh to the Internet Archive for unknowingly supporting us for all that time. It's patreon.com/VGLpodcast. And I could skip the website because we've already done that. I need to do some editing on this. Like Jared mentioned, hopefully iTunes will be updated before too long and will be relisted on Google Play before too long. And Jared will fix all the other stuff because if I tried to figure it out at this point, I would probably break things even more than Jared. Which is, yes, I know, surprising. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod. You can find his work at Incompetech.com. And
as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice. Bye-bye now.
Don't you mean cover up?
Sure. Bye-bye.
See ya.